Chapter 445. When the sun rose, it rained and a beautiful rainbow appeared in the sky. The beautiful scenery made many people happy, but it also made many people unhappy. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan belonged to the unhappy kind, not because the rainbow was not beautiful, not because it was not fresh after the rain. The main reason was the sun rain. The cabbages they had planted were already 3 inches tall. They were preparing to pick some cabbages and plant them out today, leaving some for eating so that the cabbages would have enough space to grow. After the sun rain, the two were busy. They had to think of other ways to mix lime water. Lime water alone could not completely kill or prevent aphids. I heard that garlic juice is good. Why don't we mix some garlic with lime water and sprinkle it on the cabbages? Zhang Xiaobao suggested. He had not eaten the pickled cabbage he made last year. It tasted good to stir-fry it with fatty meat. The cabbages in the field could not be abandoned. The yield was large and there were many ways to eat them. Stir-frying them with carrots was also a good dish. Wang Wan waved her hand. No, garlic is too expensive. I heard that chives are also good. Why don't we sacrifice some of the chives and use the lime water mixed with the lime water to prevent the honey flush? Then sacrifice the chives. 1 portion of the field is enough. Let's dig up the roots. It is easy to rot the roots when cutting chives in the rain. Zhang Xiaobao could only give up some of the chives for the cabbages. What if the roots are not rotten? There must be some bacteria in the rain that entered the chives. Also sprinkle some lime water. After cutting this portion, use something to cover it and not let it see the light. Wang Wan was still hoping that the chives would grow out in batches. They could eat chives when they were covered. Like garlic sprouts, Wang Wan liked to eat them. While talking, she took 2 chives and 1 for each of them. She pulled Zhang Xiaobao and ran outside to cut the chives. Lu Shaoqing was also in a bad mood. He was in a state of endless regret. How could he have been so obsessed with writing the agreement? Why didn't he think carefully when he wrote it? It was all because he wanted to leave and thought that someone had found out. Where could he get 200 jars of prawn sauce? Last night, the people he sent out came back and said that the Zhang family was also asking people to catch prawns. It seemed that the Zhang family wanted to make prawn sauce and had come over to trick him. After buying the jars at a high price, they still had to buy salt. Otherwise, they would have to arrange for people to boil seawater and dry the salt like they did in the saltworks. In the past, they could have as much salt as they wanted. As soon as Zhang Zhong came, he immediately controlled the supply of salt. The people of the state were given salt on a monthly basis. Other than food, if he wanted more, he would have to spend money to buy it. Otherwise, he would have to find seawater to boil it himself. He didn't care as long as he didn't cook it in the salt pan. Lu Shaoqing finally decided to cook the salt himself. He sent out some people to cook the salt. He wanted to save as much as possible. Someone had been waiting outside the door for a long time. When he heard Lu Shaoqing shout, he quickly ran in. His footsteps were very light. He was afraid that he would make the master unhappy and let the master vent his anger on him. How is the matter of catching prawns going? Send some people to cook the salt. Lu Shaoqing didn't like anyone now. He sat there and looked up at the servant who came in and said. The servant tried his best to not be so afraid and replied, "Master, the people who are catching prawns are still doing it. The wooden raft didn't dare to go too far, so they didn't catch too many prawns. They can probably make 5 jars. According to this calculation, they will be able to catch 200 jars of prawns in about 20 days. Master, you can rest assured. It's mainly the servants of the 3 families who didn't work hard. I will send someone to cook the salt in a while. Master, do you have any other orders?" "I can rest assured." "How can I rest assured?" 20 days. Then can they still make prawn sauce in the remaining 10 days? They didn't work hard, right? Good, send people over quickly. I won't let them eat lunch today. As for the prawns, as long as they catch enough prawns to make a jar of prawn sauce before the evening, they will have food to eat. Lu Shaoqing shouted. The tea bowl in his hand had been raised and was ready to drop, but it stopped in the air. In the end, he didn't want to waste it. This kind of bowl cost 5 or 6 copper coins. He couldn't waste it. He looked at the servant who was standing there in fear and waved his hand. "You can leave. Just do as I say." "Yes, master. I will leave now." The servant was as if he had been pardoned. He agreed and quickly left. When he was out of the door, he let out a breath of relief. He was scared to death. Lu Shaoqing was angry. He was angry with Zhang Zhong, angry with himself, and angry with the other 3 people. There was no need to talk about Zhang Zhong, but he didn't take any precautions. Chao Harue and the other 2 people only took out a small amount of money at the crucial time. It seemed that they wanted to stay out of this. Chao Harue was in a good mood. He sat at home and didn't think about the 4 people gathered together. It was mainly because he didn't want to face Lu Shaoqing. After all this time, he and the others shrank back and didn't want to pay for it. It was fortunate that they didn't write a receipt together. The rainbow in the sky could be seen from the window. It was very beautiful. It was said that if you could find the head of the rainbow, you could reach the sky. However, no one had ever found it. Perhaps the person who found it was no longer in the mortal world. Master, there is a steward from the Zhang family outside. He said that he wants to talk to you about a business deal." Chao Harue was looking for joy in his misery when a servant quickly walked in and reported to him. Chao Harue immediately trembled. He looked at the servant and asked, "Is there a 2-star chauffeur?" He was frightened by Lu Shaoqing's matter and was extremely vigilant against people who came to find him. The servant Weiwei shook her head and replied, "It's not a 2-star chauffeur. It's a 5-star chauffeur. Master, do you not want to see him? Let him leave quickly. Let him come in. Let's see what he wants. I won't be fooled this time." Chao Harue hesitated for a moment, but still chose to meet and listen. The servant quickly led the Zhang family over. Chao Harue didn't greet them in the living room. Instead, he stood in the small courtyard outside. He was prepared to let them leave after listening to them. He didn't want to be fooled. "Master Chao, my master asked me to come over and discuss something with Master Chao. The fishing company is a little understaffed. He wants Master Chao's servants to go over and help. Master Chao's servants will pay the same wages as normal people. They don't need to sign any documents. They can quit at any time." The 5-star chauffeur stood in front of Chao Harue and spoke in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Chao Harue didn't immediately agree. He had to think about this matter clearly. He didn't think that Zhang Zhong would be so kind, but this matter didn't seem to be scheming at all. Especially since they didn't need to sign any documents. At most they could quit. No, this matter couldn't be so simple. Otherwise, Lu Shaoqing wouldn't have been fooled. There must be something unexpected, Chao Harue thought. Suddenly, an idea flashed through his mind. He sneered and said to the chauffeur, "My servants are all busy with important matters. I don't have enough manpower. Are you trying to sow discord between the 4 of us? If we take away the manpower, what about the prawns over there?" "Master Chao, you misunderstand. No one is trying to sow discord. We are indeed short of manpower. How about this, if Master Chao agrees, we won't give those who go over to help with the fishing. In the end, we will give them some prawns that are suitable for making gorge sauce. This way Master Chao will have an easier time." The Zhang family chauffeur still had the same calm expression as he explained to Chao Harue. "You're really willing to give them prawns? And provide food like others? Can they leave at any time?" Chao Harue was finally tempted. With such conditions, he couldn't think of anything wrong. It should be impossible to be fooled, but why did he feel a little uncomfortable? The Zhang family chauffeur nodded and replied, "Master Chao is right. Not only that, the Zhang family will also make new clothes for the people who go over." "No other requests?" Chao Harue asked again. "No, absolutely not. If Master doesn't believe me, I will go and discuss with the others. We are short of 30 people. Let's see if they can give up." The Zhang family chauffeur didn't turn around and leave this time. Instead, he stood there and waited for a reply. Chao Hui had to think about it carefully. He stared at the Zhang family chauffeur and pondered. Finally, he gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, I will transfer some people over. As we agreed, I want prawns, 3 meals a day, new clothes, and a receipt." The Zhang family chauffeur didn't refuse. The two of them finished the receipt and emphasized that they could leave at any time. "Master, if it's possible, I hope your people can arrive by this afternoon. I will take my leave first." The Zhang family chauffeur put away his receipt and said to Chao Hui, then turned around and left. When the chauffeur was gone, Chao Hui still stood there and pondered. He couldn't think of anything, so he turned his head and asked the servant standing next to him, "Do you think there is a conspiracy in this matter?" How could his family's servants understand these things? In his heart, he was envious of the 30 people who were able to pass. He was unable to pass and needed to wait on this side. He thought hard and said, "Master, this lowly one also cannot think of anything. Could it be that Zhang Zhong suddenly became kind-hearted? I don't think so. Anyway, it's nothing. Can just quit." "Well, that's the only way. Send someone to call our people back and let them go to the Zhang family to help. It's almost noon. Hurry up. Don't eat there. Go to the Zhang family to eat. I heard that the Zhang family's food has always been good. Let them eat as much as they want. The more they eat, the better." Chao Hui couldn't think of anything, so he just played along with the Zhang family. With the receipt in hand, he wasn't afraid of being schemed against. The servant immediately ran away. There weren't many people here, so he basically didn't have anyone to rely on. Usually he had to do it himself. Looking at the figure of the servant leaving, Chao Hui turned around and walked into the room. He muttered as he walked, "What is going on? Are they really not here to scheme against me? They don't need to do business, and they don't need to worry about the servants not letting them go. Why is that?" Chapter 446. That's good enough. If there are more honeyworms, we can only endure it. Zhang Xiaobao was relieved when he saw the servants help to water all the cabbages. The servants didn't know what was the use of doing that. Since the son of a good official asked them to do it, they just did it. They didn't work for nothing. When they left, they brought some chives and egg stuffing. They could eat whatever they wanted when they got home. They could stir-fry or wrap the stuffing. If they didn't have noodles, they could stir-fry it. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan cut so many chives, they felt that they didn't need to mash the chives and soak them in water. The water that flowed out when they were chopped into stuffing was enough. Therefore, they asked the servants to bring more than 100 scrambled eggs and mix them together. That was their pay. After that, the two of them made pies with 3 delicacies stuffing at noon. While some people were full, others were hungry. In order to get as many shrimps as possible to make shrimp sauce, Lu Shaoqing adopted some methods that he thought were reasonable. Those who couldn't catch enough shrimps didn't get to eat. He told them to wait and see at night, but his servants started to carry out the plan at noon. Last night and during the day today, these servants had just learned how to catch shrimps. To be precise, they cast the net. They couldn't judge where there were more shrimps and could only rely on their luck. Lu Shaoqing's servants were required to catch according to the total number of shrimps. Didn't he say that one person could catch a jar of shrimps at night? Then he should have half a jar at noon. Even some things that Lu Shaoqing didn't consider were thought out by his servants. A jar of fresh shrimps couldn't make a jar of shrimp sauce. After mashing the shrimps, it would probably take 3 times as many shrimps to fill a jar. That was to say, these servants had to catch at least half a jar of fresh shrimps in the morning. It was indeed a bit too much. In the past, these servants relied on the master's family to bully the common people outside. Now that they couldn't bully the common people, they began to bully the people around them. The servants of the 3 families were under the control of one family. Lu Shaoqing's servants naturally did what they did in the past. When the others were working, they would watch from the side. If anyone didn't do a good job, they would go over and scold them. They didn't go to the point of beating them. However, when the master's words came, these people found a way. When they were scolded if they didn't listen, they wouldn't give them anything to eat at noon. The servants of the three families were already dissatisfied with Lu Shaoqing's family. At first, they thought it was a joke to scare them. Who knew that at noon Lu Shaoqing's family really only prepared food for them, and no one cared about them. When the servants of Lu Shaoqing's family began to eat, the servants of the three families knew that this matter was true. Immediately they could not accept it. They were here to help, and their masters did not write any receipts. Not only did they give money, but they also sent them over. In the end, the people who should be in a hurry to do things were given food to eat, while the people who helped were given nothing and were even reprimanded. This was not treating them as humans at all. I'm not doing this anymore. You guys can catch your own prawns. Take a rest and look at the sea. A servant of Fan Jianxi's family threw away the net in his hand and sat on the wooden raft. Looking at the sky and the sea in the distance, he stopped moving. The others followed him. They threw away the things in their hands and waited there. Let's see who could outlast the other. When the people eating on the shore saw others stop, they were not willing to continue. Their thoughts were simple. You guys came here because your master promised our master. Since you are here, you should be obedient. How dare you stop? Hurry up and eat. Teach them a lesson after you finish eating. Our master is so anxious. How dare they not work? Not to mention lunch, they won't even have dinner. Let's see how long they can endure. Hurry up and eat. A servant of Lu Shaoqing's family glanced at the sea. He took another mouthful of rice in his mouth and swallowed it. When the conflict was about to break out, Chao Herui's family came over. He asked his family members to go to the Zhang family's place to catch shrimps so that they could help Lu Shaoqing get through the crisis. When he arrived, he saw that there were only about 30 people eating and about 90 people sitting on the raft doing nothing. He couldn't help but feel puzzled. Before he could ask the person who was eating, a wooden raft on the surface of the sea quickly moved towards this side. On it were several servants of Chao Herui's family. This person just stood there and waited. As soon as the raft reached the shore, the people on the raft jumped down and ran to this person and said, "They don't do anything. They just look at us and say that we must catch at least 1.5 jars of prawns in the morning. Otherwise, they won't give us any food. Go back and tell our master that we quit. We are here to help, but we still have to endure this." After one of them spoke, the others began to speak as well. The more Chao Herui's family member heard, the uglier his expression became. He had been discussing with his master how to help, but now it seemed that there was no need for that. They didn't give them food, they didn't work, and they made the helpers work. Were the people of the Chao family so easy to bully? He was angry. He was going to go there and complain. He didn't need to complain. He could just take them away. The people of the Chao family didn't need to be controlled by the Lu family. He wanted to leave, but some people came to the seaside. Some people of the Zhang family rushed over. As soon as they arrived, they set up a pot and prepared firewood. Under everyone's curiosity, a person came over and said to Chao Herui's people, "Our master said that since the written agreement is written, we should start working. It's noon. According to the custom of the Zhang family, the food of the people who work will be provided by the Zhang family. We came in a hurry and didn't prepare anything. Eat something." The person in charge of Chao Herui's family was very surprised. He didn't expect the Zhang family to come. They really provided food according to the written agreement. It happened that his family members hadn't eaten yet. It was fine as long as they could eat. He quickly said, "Then I'll have to trouble you." "It's no trouble. It's no trouble at all. The Zhang family has always done things this way. Wait a moment. When the water boils, you can eat after a few scoops." The people of the Zhang family said politely and went back to work. "Brother Ziyu, are they people of the Zhang family? Do we have any business with them?" The servant of Chao Herui's family who spoke first listened to the two people talking and looked at the busy work over there. "Yes, there is business. From now on, you will work in the fishing house of the Zhang family. They will provide you with 3 meals a day and make new clothes for each of you. They will also pay you. When we came here, Master wanted to change it into shrimp and give it to Lord Lu. I don't know now. I have to go back and ask Master. You can learn from him first. The more fish you catch, the more money you will get. The small steward of the Chow family didn't hide it. Although he didn't get along well with the Zhang family, he naturally had to put down some of his hatred for the time being if he could make money. The people of the Zhang family worked quickly and didn't have too many dishes to make. 1 dumpling, 2 cold dishes, 1 meat dish, 1 vegetable dish, and some wine. Usually, when other people worked at the beach, they didn't give wine at noon because it would affect their work in the afternoon. However, these people didn't care. Zhang Xiaobao didn't plan to let them do any work. Although there weren't many dishes, these dishes were like the new year for the servants of the Chow Herui's family. They could only eat some salted vegetables these days to save money and repay their debts. The dumplings with 3 delicacies were very normal. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both ate this at noon. Naturally, others couldn't change it. The cold dish was cucumber mixed with tofu. The meat dish was pig head meat, which was cut and piled in a bowl. Beside it, there was a big bowl of garlic sauce and coriander. The wine was ordinary rice wine with some aged vinegar for people who were willing to drink. The people of the Chow Herui's family were looking forward to it. The people of the Lu family were curious. The people of the other 2 families were also puzzled. They didn't know what was going on with the Zhang family and the Chow family. While they were thinking, the dumplings were ready. The people of the Zhang family called the people of the Chow family over. The servants of the Chow Herui's family didn't refuse. Since they made the dumplings, they dared to eat. They didn't believe that there would be poison in the dumplings. There were no tables or stools, so they put the food in a bowl and placed it on the sand. The people of the Zhang family didn't eat the food cooked by them. Those who were not busy ate with work ate with the people of the Chow family. There were no plates, only a wooden bowl. He poured some soy sauce and vinegar into it, picked up a dumpling, dipped it in it, and stuffed it into his mouth. He chewed hard and breathed out hot air. He said to the people of the Chow family, "Eat, there are more dumplings over there. You have a good time today. Do you know who made the filling for these dumplings? Young master and young lady. In order to make dumplings for you, the young master and young lady went to the chive field early in the morning. This may be the only time you can eat dumplings in your life." The people of the Chow family didn't know how good the dumplings made by the young master and young lady were. They were relieved when they saw that the person who made the food was also eating. They all picked up their chopsticks and began to eat. When they ate, they found that the dumplings were indeed different. They tasted better than the best dumplings they had ever eaten before. In addition, there were 2 cold dishes and wine. They ate happily, which attracted the people of the Lu family. The people of the Lu family didn't know what was going on. When they arrived, they saw dumplings, 2 cold dishes, and wine. One person who was stupid thought that if the Chow family could eat, they could also eat. She looked around and saw that the chopsticks were on the table. She didn't pick them up and directly reached for the bowl of dumplings. She picked up a dumpling and stuffed it into her mouth. She chewed twice, but before she swallowed, she felt a pain in her stomach and her body flew backward. She couldn't hold the dumpling in her mouth anymore and spat it out. "Who allowed you to eat? Are you from the Lu family? Don't you know the rules? The Zhang family didn't say that they would give you the food, but you dared to eat by yourselves. This is the first time. Spit out the dumplings. If there's another time, I'm telling you, it won't be just dumplings. I'll make you vomit blood." The guards of the Zhang family also came. When they came, they had been told to take action when there was an opportunity. They would let one side eat well and the other side couldn't. This was an opportunity. They kicked the people of the Zhang family away and threatened them. Their goal was achieved. We usually send letters to aristocratic families and merchants. It's less common for aristocratic families. Aristocratic families have their own means, but merchants are different. If they open a branch outside or have dealings with a merchant, We'll send letters to them. Zhang Xiaobao attached great importance to the matter of the carrier pigeon. If he knew some news in advance, he could make preparations in advance, especially when it came to making money. Wang Wan felt a little regretful. Many good things were invented to serve the military. Then it was the rich's turn. When the rich had better things, it was the poor's turn. She felt that she should be considered rich now, so she should be more concerned about the poor. Xiaobao, do you know how to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor? I don't know. The simplest way is to play fight the landlord and fight the tycoons. But I'll tell you this, as long as the landlord and tycoon can still live like other people after they're done playing fight the landlord and the tycoon, no one will restrict them. Then, a large portion of them will still become rich and surpass others. Zhang Xiaobao had specially thought about how to make ordinary people earn more money. In the end, he realized that only those who were unwilling to accept the status quo and dared to take risks could become rich. Some took bigger risks, some took smaller ones. Some were not capable and had bad luck when taking risks. Some were done for. Some succeeded. It was too difficult for people who were content with the status quo to succeed. Wang Wan felt a little regretful. Then forget it. Let's live our lives well. If we can help others, we will. We are not saviors. The two of them stopped studying the loom and began to talk about some philosophical thoughts. At this time, the person who was investigating the situation came over and reported to the two of them in detail. After the person left, Zhang Xiaobao smiled. Xiaobao, what rotten idea did you come up with this time? Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's innocent smile and knew that someone was going to be unlucky. Tomorrow morning, I'll ask the kiln to sell the remaining jars. Then we'll start to buy the shrimp paste. Each jar contains 20 caddies of shrimp paste. We'll buy all of them in cash. No deposit, no receipt. We'll just spread the news. I want to see if a person's heart can withstand the test of money. In 3 days we'll buy all of them in cash. Zhang Xiaobao said as he walked out. The person who delivered the bill had come. He had to clear up the account. Wang Wan followed behind him. She could help as well. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao's back and shook her head. Zhang Xiaobao had been working too hard recently. He had to think about everything. He even talked in his sleep at night. If one listened carefully, they would hear him talking in his sleep. When the two of them arrived at the study, Wang Wan asked as she ground an ink stick, Xiaobao, do you hate those 4 people so much that you want to teach them a lesson? It's not that I hate them. I don't have concrete evidence, but they did what they did. I mainly treated them as chickens and killed them as a warning to the monkeys. When Lu Zhou's construction is done, someone will come to pick the fruits of their labor. It's time for my father to leave. Your father can't always stay in his position as a 7th grade official. This time I'll give him some credit. Even if the court knows that he didn't do much, they still have to give him face. It's also good to give your mother a better title. A tree lives with skin, and a person lives with dignity. My mother won't have to worry about it. Even if my father doesn't fight for it, there will be others who will. If they don't raise your family's status, it'll be difficult when you marry me. Zhang Xiaobao flipped through the account book and said. Wang Wan pinched Zhang Xiaobao's face and asked, Who said I'm going to marry you, little brat? Tell me, who's the monkey? Zhang Xiaobao stared at the account book. He flipped through it again and said, I don't know who's the monkey, but I want those who can be the monkey in the future to be careful. Those who are capable, step forward. Those who aren't, step back. After we're done with Lu Zhou, my father still can't enter the capital. He's still young. What kind of place is this? Who's doing the accounts in Huaqing County? Are you trying to scare a fool? You were fine yesterday, and yet you dare to falsify the accounts for me today. It seems like some people didn't teach you a lesson last time, and they're tempted again. Are they getting restless after seeing summer? What's going on? When Wang Wan heard that something was up, she curiously leaned over to take a look. It's nothing. The river is connected to the bay, and there's a total of 1,200 people. We used 550 caddies of grain. It's normal to eat this every day. We should at least let them eat their fill, right? It's enough if we add vegetables. The vegetables are 600 catties of spinach, and they'll shrink when they're stir-fried. We used 5 catties of salt. This seems a little too much, but it's normal. After all, we made salted vegetables. The salt and water consumption of the people working is high. We also have salt water to replenish our bodies when we don't eat. It's normal to use 400 catties of firewood. I'd believe him if he said he used 1,000 catties. What if the wind is strong and the firewood isn't good? What do you see? Wang Wan knew how to check the accounts as well. She did not see anything else after looking through it. The accounts for water and wages were in another book, and it had nothing to do with this. Thinking that there was a problem with the other book, Wang Wan also found the account book. She carefully looked at this place, shook her head and said, "There's no problem with this. It's very clear. The difference with yesterday's account is within the usual range. Let me look at yesterday's account book. The only difference is that the place where they dug is different. Today they dug through the bay here. Yesterday they were still a little short, but the consumption is the same. Yesterday they used more firewood than today. That's the mistake. It's a rainy day today. Don't you think they used too little firewood? You also said that it's not a problem to use 1,000 catties of firewood. I won't say anything if you use 5,000 catties of firewood. Look at this account book for water. It's a separate account. Compared with yesterday's, it's actually less water than yesterday's. The wages of the workers are less." Zhang Xiaobao took out several accounts books and showed them to Wang Wan. Chapter 47. The calculation of the secular world continues. Wang Wan took a look and still did not find any problems. She said to the worker who delivered water, "It's not as hot today as yesterday, so they drank less water." "How can it be less? They eat so much salt and work so hard. Aren't they thirsty?" Huaqing County's Deputy County Magistrate Qi Dong is in charge over there, right? This time he will be able to get 2 strings of cash. 2 strings of cash is not a lot, but I can't let him be greedy. As long as he succeeds this time, who knows what will happen next time. Other people will also feel lucky when they see this. How can I have time to chat with them? We still have work to do. I don't know what they are thinking by making false accounts in front of me. Kill a chicken first and let others see. Back then, for the sake of the disaster relief, he organized better and gave him a chance. But he can't control himself anymore. Zhang Xiaobao was most annoyed by the petty tricks of his subordinates. For 2 strings of cash, they made the accounts so well that even Wang Wan, who was from the Special Second Department, could not see through it. Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's certainty, but she still did not understand. How can he be greedy for so much money? Because of the amount of work. Look at the progress in the accounts. According to our estimates, the amount of soil and rocks dug out is about the same. But it rained today, so the soil is easy to dig. Also, the area near the bay is easier to dig. You have seen that area. It's not rocks but sand. How much did the labor do? Just like what you said, the firewood is not valuable, but it can be used to cook salt. We paid for it, and he cooked the salt himself. In order to make up for this, he made salted vegetables. How many people here can calculate so clearly? Let him try it in Sanshui County. The people can directly calculate how much salt he took. Zhang Xiaobao continued to explain to Wang Wan. At the same time, he really admired this county deputy, Qi Dong. It was not worth it to use his ability on 2 strings of cash. Then why didn't he increase the amount of water? Wouldn't that be easier to calculate the consumption of salt? Wang Wan asked again. He calculated the consumption of cold water for other people. If I'm not wrong, those water delivery boys earn more than other places. Boiling salt is hotter, so he took out 100 copper coins to make up for the water delivery boys. Then the money for the water and the water delivery workers was calculated separately. Go to another person's account. Isn't it enough to give some money to this person? The account is recorded by Huaqing County's knife brush officer. Give him half a string of cash, which is 500 copper coins, and I think he will agree. In this way, Qi Dong earned about half a string of cash in a day. This person is really not ordinary. He calculated according to the weather and was willing to spend money. If you don't believe me, you can find a worker there and ask him. Zhang Xiaobao hesitated. He was a talent. For such a small amount of money, he calculated so many steps. As long as he was given a wider sky, he would definitely be able to spread his wings and soar. However, if he did not stop this trend, others would follow suit. He could not spend too much energy on such a small matter, right? Wang Wan thought for a while, then gave Zhang Xiaobao a thumbs up and said, "Comrade Zhang Xiaobao, as expected, you didn't diminish your reputation. So many people wanted to catch you but couldn't. It wasn't luck. To be able to see so many calculations just by looking at the account books, I really want to say to that Qi Dong, it's not that you didn't do well enough, but that you met the person you should not have met in your life." Just like Song Jinggong back then. He calculated and tricked so many people. In the end, when he reached the small bridge, I don't know if he hesitated when he crossed the bridge, but I know that he walked very slowly. After that, there was one less liar in this world. I think in everyone's heart there is such a bridge. The bridge of helplessness between heaven and hell. How many people can turn back at that time? How many people can stay at that time and not drink that bowl of Granny Meng's soup? I still admire Mi Fan more. At the crucial moment, he knows how to compromise. Zhang Xiaobao listened for a while and finally understood. He said to Wang Wan, "You want me to let Qi Dong go? Actually, it's fine to let him go, but there are many ways to do so. For example, if my father is an official here, other than normal people, who would take the initiative to come here? This is a place of exile. If it was Qi Dong, we could also use this method. It's good that he has the ability. I'm really not afraid of him causing trouble. I'm prepared to exile him to the capital. He can forget about being a deputy county magistrate. How about he go to Sanshui County to be an official? He can do whatever he wants there. Okay, then it's settled. Let's scare him first." Wang Wan also couldn't bear to part with a talent. There weren't many people who could avoid her checking the account books. Although she didn't have the patience to check bit by bit, she still checked. Zhang Xiaobao only glanced at it. Others didn't know that in the prefecture, there were two children talking about someone's life and death. The sun still rose and set, just like the tide. Those who were supposed to eat, those who were supposed to wear, and those who were supposed to wear wore their clothes. Chao Harue could be said to be a drop of water in the vast sea of people. When he was thinking hard, he probably didn't think that there were many people who wouldn't care at all if they encountered such a thing. He also didn't think that there was someone who calculated every move he made. Chao Harue was also very angry when he heard about the incident at the seaside. He was angry at Lu Shaoqing. He felt that since he handed Lu Shaoqing over to him, he should treat him well. His own servants didn't work, but let others do it. He didn't even give them food. Who was helping who? Who wrote the note? Was it possible that he had to ask others to help him when he was helping others? If you, Lu Shaoqing, were a powerful provincial governor like Zhang Zhong, it would still make sense. But you, Lu Shaoqing, are the same as us. We're all judges. If we help you, it's out of friendship. If we don't, it's our duty. In the past, it was indeed beneficial for all four of them. They shared the benefits equally. But now, what about the debt? No one said that they would help others bear the debt. Those who had more servants also had more. After earning money, they had to pay their own debts. Since this was the case, how could Chao Harue's servants be worse than others? Those who helped were reprimanded and didn't have food to eat. The ones who were really anxious were the supervisors. There was no reason for this. Thinking of this, Chao Harue became even more angry. He shouted outside, "Someone prepare the carriage. We are going to visit Magistrate Lu's house. Bring a gift box." The servant hurriedly complied and ran out to prepare. He understood in his heart that the master was angry. The four families were close to each other, and there was even a connecting door between the courtyards. The master had even brought out a carriage. He said that there were official positions, and he even wanted to bring a calendar. This was clearly going according to the official position. Thinking about it, the servant didn't dare to be negligent. He prepared everything and came to greet them. Chow Harue went out and took the carriage. He made a circle and arrived at the Lu residence in less than half an hour. The purpose of making a circle was to let people know that he was going to pay a formal visit. The other party could prepare according to their status. As expected, Lu Shaoqing was prepared. The main door was wide open. In fact, it wasn't closed. 2 people just came and did this. Jiang Huanshi and Fan Jianxi also wanted to ask how they were going to cooperate. They couldn't just casually send people here to do manual labor and then not have food. That wasn't cooperation. Bullying the servants was bullying the master. Lu Shaoqing already knew what happened. He beat the servant who made the decision without permission half to death. But this didn't solve the problem. People would think that he deliberately made a scene for others to see. Wasn't it just the trick of injuring oneself to gain sympathy? Many years ago there were people who used it again and again. Lu Shaoqing naturally knew what the third person meant. He personally went to the door to welcome him. As soon as Chow Harue got out of the carriage, he hurried to the front and said with a smile, "Brother Chow, you must be here because of the servant in my family. Please come in. Brother Jiang and Brother Fan are also here. That servant of mine offended all 3 families at once, and I didn't mention how to beat him up. In the end, it was my mistake this time. I hope Brother Chow can understand. Brother Chow should also know that I can't even protect all 3 families, so how could I bully you? If you want to die, you can just find a rope. Why do you have to do this?" In fact, Chow Harue didn't come here to make trouble. He mainly used this as an excuse to let his servant work with the Zhang family. He wanted to make more money and pay off the debt as soon as possible. Hearing Lu Shaoqing's words, he chuckled and said, "Brother Lu, I'm not here to denounce you. My servant was bullied and can't eat. These are all small matters. And small matters. I came here this time to discuss the matter of the shrimp paste with Brother Lu. I'm sure Brother Lu already knows about today's situation, so I won't hide it from you. Brother Lu, look, this is the contract written by the Zhang family. As long as I send 30 people to work there, their final wages will be exchanged for prawns that can be used to make prawn sauce. I think that in a few days, Brother Lu will have enough prawns. It usually takes a month to make shrimp sauce. Normally, there isn't enough time, but the Zhang family didn't say that if they can't make it in a month, they will immediately compensate. You said in the agreement that you will receive it in a month. You can just find some reason. Even if you don't have a reason, you don't have to be afraid. The length of the shrimp sauce depends on the temperature. If it's hot, the time will be shorter. You can let people light a fire around the jar and keep it hot. That way it won't take a month. In the past, when the weather was good, it would only take 20 days. What do you think?" Lu Shaoqing did know about today's matter, but he didn't expect it to be like this. He heard a useful piece of news and said happily, "Brother Chow, I'm sorry. I'll kill that person later to give Brother Chow an explanation." "You're going to kill me. Let's do it like this. When Brother Lu makes money, don't forget that we are still in debt." Chow Harue pointed out the most important thing. "Brother Chow, don't worry. When we sell the shrimp sauce, you get 60% and I get 40%. Lu Shaoqing happily divided the profits. Chapter 448. In the middle of summer, the old man between the clouds and the water finally could not stand it anymore. Even with the fan blowing, he was still very irritated. The students of the academy were more serious in their studies. There had never been a case where the rich students bullied the poor students. The old man knew that it was not that the rich did not want to bully them, but that they did not dare to. The Zhang family hated internal strife the most. The Zhang family developed too fast, so they did not have the time to care about internal conflicts. As long as there was a sign of trouble, they would deal with it. After the academy expelled 4 people in a row, all of them became obedient. They were expelled, as the academy said. It was useless no matter who interceded. The rules were there. If they wanted to test, the result would not be good. Grandpa, I can't write anymore. Sinair stopped writing in the pavilion. Looking at the dragonflies flying around the lake, she felt even more irritated. Then go and play with the kids from Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi. The old man was also annoyed. Even if he had caught more than 10 fish, he was not in a good mood. Exinair pouted. No, they only want to play when they are playing and only want to learn when they are learning. It's better to play with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. They can play and learn at the same time. Grandpa, when will they come back? It's still early. How about I take you to them? Arrange the things in the academy and then leave. Since the old man left Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he always felt that he had lost a lot of things. At first, he thought that the two little guys were close. Later, he realized that it was because of the lack of good students. The students in the academy were not bad, but compared to the two little guys, it was different. When he asked the two children to memorize the same thing, they were always able to memorize it on the second day. Furthermore, they were able to understand it. The smarter students were able to barely memorize it, but the more stupid ones actually required 3 days. After explaining it over and over again, they still had questions. If this went on, he would fall sick again. It was better to find the two little fellows and take a look at the situation over there. It was always better to see with one's own eyes than to know from one's heart. Sinair only felt that it was too lonely. She didn't expect that one sentence would make her grandfather suggest the idea of going over. She nodded happily and said, "That's great, grandfather. Then let's hurry up and go. I want to see how much Luer has learned." All right, let's go. Let's go back and make some arrangements." The old man couldn't sit still any longer. He put away his fishing rod and walked back. When they were about to leave the gazebo, someone shouted with a splash. Someone jumped into the water. "Look, it's really a leap of heroism, like a summer's summer water." The old man looked in the direction of the voice and saw a person in the middle of the intersection between the main building, between the clouds and the water, and the adjacent building. He looked down and saw a person struggling in the water. The old man sighed. He didn't know which stupid person had jumped into the water. Even if he wanted to die, he didn't have to jump here. He stood on the highest 3-story building and jumped down with his head down. There was no need to jump into the water. Even if he didn't die, he would be fined. Exinair watched from the side and was also not worried. The rescue team had already gone over. She looked at the person who was still struggling to get down and said, "Grandfather, isn't this Lu Feitong? The one who kept nagging all day and didn't learn anything?" Sure enough, it's the second time. He wanted to enter the Zhang family to learn something. The Zhang family agreed and arranged for him to learn here. It seems that he didn't learn well. We'll take him with us so that he won't jump again and again. After all, he is Minister Lu's nephew. The old man didn't have good eyesight. He took out the clairvoyance and saw clearly. He said helplessly. Lu Feitong, who was rescued, was still shouting, "I can't learn anything. Let me die, let me die. If you want to die, go somewhere else. Don't stay between the clouds and the water." The rescuers didn't show any mercy and didn't try to persuade him not to die. Several people held him down, tied him up, and sent him to the shore. "Sir, go and tell Lu Feitong about this. I'll go to the academy to arrange it." The old man said to his granddaughter and quickened his pace to leave. The old man in the academy taught more easily. There were only 2 hours of classes a day. There were many good teachers here. He just needed to assign them to one person. Along the way, the old man saw that the students were wearing clean clothes and their faces were glowing. He was relieved to leave. Since the Zhang family agreed to make clothes for the students, they had been doing it all the time. Some time ago, they even found people from other academies to compete again. In the old man's opinion, winning or losing was not important. If they lost, they would know their shortcomings. If they won, they would know their strengths. Most importantly, the competition gave them half a year's worth of supplies needed by the students. He didn't need to worry about these things. The people from the Zhang family between the clouds and the water would take care of it. This way, he wouldn't have to worry about the students' lives when he left. As this place became more prosperous, the advertising fees would become higher and higher. He wouldn't have to worry about not having enough money in the future. After making all these arrangements, the old man finally embarked on his journey to Luzhou. He brought his granddaughter and the guards of his family and took a small boat to the capital. He wrote a letter to the people at the docks in advance. When they arrived at their destination, there was already a big boat waiting for them. It was a newly built ship. Before the old man boarded the ship, he deliberately looked at the back of the ship. Sure enough, there was a propeller. The current propeller was much better than before. It wouldn't break down in 2 to 4 hours. It was mainly because the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War had put in a lot of effort. Grandpa, isn't Lingnan the place to be sent to? Many people have said that the journey is a narrow escape. I don't think it's that dangerous. There are willows by the shore and fish jumping in the water. A gentle breeze comes, and the sky is high and the clouds are light. Sigh, it's time to return to the boat. The sun is setting. It's not a bad journey, Exinair said to the old man as she stood on the ship and looked at the fishing boat reflected by the sunset. The old man chuckled. Exinair, our journey is different from the people sent to the prison. They travel by land and have to cross mountains and ridges. We travel by land and on a big ship. Of course it's easier for us. Oh, so the people sent to the prison also have to take a ship. Then they won't have to worry about dying on the way. Exinair thought of things in a positive way. The old man didn't say much. How could it be so easy to sit on a big ship? How many people could specially call for a ship and travel so far? If they could run, it would be better to take a trip to the cargo ship and earn a few hundred strings of coins. The Zhang family was rich and generous, and the 2 children were good friends with him, so he arranged a ship to send them off. There weren't many people on the ship. Other than the people who raised and lowered the sails, there were also people who stepped on the wheels below. There were also 2 chefs who were in charge of cooking along the way. Other than the old man and the others, there was also money on the ship. Copper coins were strung up and placed properly. Not only could they be used to send supplies to the other side, but they could also be used to weigh the ship. There were also cloth, silk, and some miscellaneous goods. It wasn't that they didn't want to leave the ship empty, but they were afraid of encountering strong winds at sea. If the ship was empty, it would be dangerous. While the ship was moving, a fleet suddenly appeared in front of them. The flag that was hung fluttered in the wind, and there was a large rice seedling embroidered on it. Grandpa, it's the Zhang family's fleet. They're back. As soon as Exinair saw the flag, she shouted happily. She thought that the Zhang family's people were back. Now, there was no one here who didn't know which family the ship with the rice seedling flag belonged to. The news had already spread. As long as one inquired a little, they would know that it was the ship of last year's top scorer. Even if the top scorer's family had always emphasized that they didn't do business, others also knew that this was the case. If they didn't do business in the name of the family, they wouldn't be regarded as businessmen. Among those aristocratic families, how many of them didn't do business? They were already used to it. The incoming fleet also noticed the ship. After a series of flag signals when they passed by each other, a ship in the fleet threw a large bag of things over and hit the deck of the old man's ship. Before the dust settled, Exinair ran over and looked at the big bag that was taller than her when she was standing and wider than her when she was lying down. She was full of curiosity. She waved at the people next to her and said, "Open it and see what's inside." Even if she didn't shout, they would still open it. As soon as the bag was opened, Exinair rummaged through it. This was because the words on the bag said that it was for Grandpa Bai, who was also her grandfather. "Grandpa, Grandpa, come and see. I want this bracelet, this necklace, and this hairpin. There are too many of them. I can't pick them all. Grandpa, there's also grilled fish slices. Let me try them first." Exinair looked at them one by one. He picked and chose. In the end, she took a bite of the fish slices. The fish slices she ate were small, There was also a large dried fish that was 5 feet long. If the bag was any smaller, it would not be able to fit them all. The old man walked over slowly. He knew that these were Lu Zhou's local specialties. He looked at the bracelets and necklaces and said to his granddaughter, "You're a hawksbill turtle. Do you know how much these things cost?" 100 strings of coins. Xiner casually said a number. She thought that 100 strings of coins was quite a lot. Usually, her pocket money was only slightly more than 100 copper coins a month. She used it to buy food when she went to the market. Your bracelet is already worth 100 strings of coins. All the things added together are worth at least 3,000 strings of coins. They must have been specially prepared by the two of them. This is the capital of the other side. If you sell them here, it's normal to sell them for 6,000 or 7,000 strings of coins. The old man looked at the things that were supposed to be offerings and said to his granddaughter with a sigh. Xiner was shocked and almost threw the bracelet in her hand away. She looked at the crimson and crystal-clear bracelet in her hand under the sunlight and muttered, "This thing is worth 100 strings of coins? Oh. And a single-colored bracelet. Xiner, this is not just 100 strings of coins. If you shout that you're selling it for 500 strings of coins, many people will rush to buy it. You can't accept this gift. You can choose one of the other things. When you get there, return this bracelet to the owner. This single-colored bracelet can buy the rest of the things." Chapter 449. The newly built ship was still sailing as usual. Compared to Xiner, who only liked some fun things, the old man paid more attention to those local specialties. Anyone who was willing to inquire about the disaster in Lu Zhou's area, including the surrounding provinces, knew about it. According to the timeline, this was only the second time these things were sent here. The old man knew that the first things were also local specialties that were secretly left behind by some local officials. However, this time was obviously different. Not only were there specialties from Lu Zhou, but there were also specialties from the surrounding provinces. If it were someone else, the old man would think that these things were obtained by chance and were sent here. However, the Zhang family basically did not do anything by chance. This meant that the people in those provinces were living well. The old man knew Zhang Zhong's character. He would not ignore others after he made a fortune. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be long before the 5 surrounding prefectures would send in their reports. The greater the contribution, the more powerful Zhang Zhong would be. Who didn't know what was going on over there? Even if they praised the 5 provinces on the surface, they would think more highly of Zhang Zhong in their hearts. "Grandpa, there are also pictures. There are words written under the pictures. Let me read it to you, Grandpa." On the 17th of June, it was raining heavily. There was a vast ocean around. 6 houses were washed down. Wooden rafts formed land and rippled with the waves. On the 19th of June, there were floating corpses. He was very anxious and sent the strong Team 0 to search against the current. There was a child lying on his back on the water. When he rushed to the wooden raft, he thought it was a floating corpse. Xiao Bao entered the water and carried the child up. He blew air into the child's chest and lungs. Then a cry was heard. Everyone who saw it was very happy. The child opened his little hands and babbled. On the 22nd of June, there were people in the upper reaches of the province who came to save them. More people came later, including the mountain people. They called for help from time to time. Unfortunately, the Team 0 was too small and could not expand the search area. We did not know how many people were in the sea. On the 24th of June, the rain did not stop. Xiner flipped open a page and read a page. After reading for a while, she couldn't read anymore. Tears flowed down her cheeks. Among the things she read, there was sorrow, helplessness, sadness, joy, and anticipation. Although she was young, she knew that life was precious. The old man took the book with the picture and looked at the special drawing method on it. He looked at the clear scene in the picture and said to his granddaughter, "Xiner, this is the real definition of great wisdom and courage." Your Uncle Zhang is a man without trees. Although some people died, there are more people who survived because of him. Without that undulating wooden array formation, there would be more ghosts on the other side. Exanair was still sad. She nodded and asked, Grandpa, why didn't Uncle Zhang divide the wooden raft into smaller pieces? That way there would be more space for him to block. Why didn't he make more wooden rafts? Silly girl, the wind and waves are strong at the seaside. Even if the rafts are connected together, they will still rise and fall. Look at this picture. It's a picture of a big rock pressing down on the wooden raft. It's a good place to be hit by the waves. Even so, the wooden raft is sometimes lifted 10 feet high. If the ropes were not tight and loose, the people on the raft would have fallen into the water. He also wanted to arrange it earlier, but he didn't have so much time. At that time he had just arrived and didn't have time to do it. If he had half a year, there wouldn't be such a disaster. Look at this picture. It's a picture of 2 rivers to be dug. I think they are already digging now. The old man naturally knew more than his granddaughter. From these pictures he could see the situation on the other side. Not only were there wooden rafts, but there were also big boats helping to block the wind and waves. He could imagine what kind of scene it was at that time. For this flood, the Zhang family did everything they could. Exanair finally understood. She snatched the picture book back and continued reading. When she finished reading the last page, she asked again, Grandpa, if Uncle Zhang and his family were not there, what would happen? They wouldn't. Nothing will happen here, but a lot of people will die over there. Even after the disaster, there will still be people who will die. Even more people will flee. Your Uncle Zhang's family is not ordinary. Don't underestimate them because they only have one province. They support the 5 surrounding provinces. Without him there, those 6 provinces will be finished. There are already few people there. Without the Zhang family, there would be even fewer people there. This is the right way to do things for the country and the people. Don't worry. When we get there, you'll see a different Lu Zhou from the picture. The old man looked at the river in front of him and said to Exanair with emotion. He believed in the Zhang family's ability to do things. A lot of money had been shipped there. Others thought that it was a dilapidated place, but if it was the Zhang family, they would be able to make money at that time. Exanair did not care about the difference at all. As long as no one died, and as long as she could see Sister Luer Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao when she got there, she was satisfied. She waved the picture book in her hand. Grandpa, this thing is really fun. It has pictures. It's not fun. It's very useful. If something similar happens in other places, you can copy it. It talks about how to save people who fell into the water, how to bandage wounds, don't drink unboiled water, and eat more garlic. Think about it. If the Yellow River flooded, wouldn't you be able to copy it? The old man saw more knowledge from such a thing. Exanair nodded in agreement. You can't take this book with you. You have to leave it for the people here and send it to the emperor, the old man said as he extended his hand. Exanair reluctantly handed over the beautiful book. When she saw her grandfather instructing people to send it away, she said reluctantly, The beautiful picture is gone. When we get there, I'll take a look at it with my own eyes. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know that the old man had come over. In the past few days, the 2 of them had checked the accounts and found that Qi Dong would think of ways to be greedy every day. It was a lot of money for ordinary people, but for Zhang Xiaobao, it was just a drop in the ocean. He's been greedy for 10 strings of coins. Isn't it time to do something? Otherwise, others will be greedy when they see that there's nothing to do. Wang Wan finally learned a thing or two. She checked the accounts very carefully. In the past few days, Qi Dong was greedy. It could not be said that he was greedy. It should be said that he was using public power for private purposes. He kept all the benefits for himself and kept 10 strings of coins. She advised Zhang Xiaobao to clean it up. Zhang Xiaobao had been very relaxed these few days. He was playing games with Lu Shaoqing and the other 3 people. 2 of the 4 people were directly schemed against, while the other 2 were affected. The affected people did not lose much, but they offended people and earned less money for a few days. Since Zhang Xiaobao raised the purchase price, the shrimp sauce had changed from the usual multiples to a jar of 8 strings of coins. Chao Harue had already agreed with Lu Shaoqing that they would use the shrimp to exchange for wages. When the time came, they would split the profits 40 to 60. Because of the increase in the shrimp sauce, he changed his mind. Normally, if they worked hard, the 30 of them would be able to earn more than 30 jars of prawns in a day. However, Zhang Xiaobao was not going to let these 30 people do anything. He would make new clothes for them, and there would be alcohol for every meal. How could they still want to work after drinking? After reluctantly following the team for a round, the 30 people could only get 5 jars of shrimp in a day. They did not care. They could eat and drink well every day, even if they did not get paid. As a result, Chao Harue's hope was dashed. He thought that 5 jars of shrimp sauce could be made into 2 jars of shrimp sauce. If 1 jar sold for 8 strings of coins, it would be 16 strings of coins a day. Moreover, the price seemed to be increasing. When the shrimp sauce was made, would it not increase even more? After thinking about it, he did not want to send the shrimp to Lu Shaoqing anymore. Instead, he asked someone to send some money. He said that the 30 people in the family did not know how to do work and did not get paid these days. The money sent should be used to buy shrimp and boats. He could not say such words himself, so he could only ask the steward in the family to do it. After hearing the steward's description, Lu Shaoqing's face became gloomy after hearing such words. However, he still thanked him and accepted the money. Knowing that the shrimp sauce could be sold at a high price, Chao Harue sent the other servants in the family out to catch shrimp in the sea with wooden rafts. They could use the shrimp sauce to make shrimp sauce and sell it when it was ready. Fan Jianxi and Jiang Huanshe also felt that sending people out would make less money, so they found reasons to ask their servants to come back. They also went to catch shrimp in the sea. Lu Shaoqing could not say anything. It was profit. He could not find fault with others for letting the 3 people who worked together to stay away from him. After all, it was his family who did not give others food first. He said that it would be settled at night, and it was the kind of fresh shrimp that 1 jar. The servants in the family changed it on their own accord. Even if he told the truth, no one would believe him. The servant in the family was beaten for a while every day. If he was not killed, he would be whipped once a day. In fact, it was to tell the people in the courtyard that they should do what the master told them to do. If they did not do it, they would be whipped. When he beat the servant, he also sent all the servants in the family out to catch shrimp. At this time, there were already 26 jars. However, for 200 jars it was far from enough. When the time came and they really could not hand it in, they would have to pay twice the amount, which was 600 strings of coins. Lu Shaoqing also had a good idea. He wanted his family to make 70 to 80 jars. When the time came, he would sell them. The money would be enough to pay for it. As for the 3 ungrateful people who only cared about money, they could earn money by themselves. In the future, if there was a good thing, he would not ask them. There was no difference between not giving coal in the snow and hitting a person who was down. Thinking that the 3 people also owed money, it was reasonable to do so. Lu Shaoqing comforted himself. He could think this way, but other people didn't, especially the servants in his family. When they were catching prawns at the seaside, they could see people from the other 2 families catching prawns there every day. Their speed was much faster than before. Chapter 450. The servants from Chao Harue's family came here on purpose. Not only were they on paid leave today, but they were also given some food and wine in food boxes in the morning when they went to work. Zhang Xiaobao guessed that they would come looking for trouble. If they were wrong, he would just treat them to a meal. When these people came, they began to look for a place where the Lu family ate. They wanted to see where they were going to cook, so they went to the side and ate their own food. Normally, fishermen would not have a place to cook on the shore when they went out to fish. Usually they would bring rice dumplings from home. There were also rice dumplings that were similar to rice dumplings. The rice was steamed and some vegetables were rolled up. If it was better, some fish was rolled up, and the outside was wrapped with vegetables. In this way there were meat dishes and rice. Some liked to eat sour food, so they added some vinegar. Some liked to eat sour food, and some liked to eat it because the weather was hot. When the food was taken out, it would be a little fermented and sour, and it would have a different taste. The Liu family was not used to it, so they specially arranged for people to cook on the shore. They wanted to learn how Zhang Zhong's family treated the working people. For example, when they were working, there were people cooking for them. Now, even if it was not a waste of time, there were people who would give them rolls or giamos. If they did not have a place to cook, wouldn't they be worse than the ordinary people? In fact, their status was not comparable to that of the ordinary people, but they did not think so. They deliberately learned from the ordinary people and asked people to spread a few pancakes, fried 2 vegetarian dishes, and put in some shrimp, small dried fish, and other things to eat. It was only a little different from what the ordinary people ate. They replaced the meat dishes with vegetarian dishes. The servants from Chao Harue's family also knew about this, and deliberately came to laugh at the Liu family. Today, the food that Zhang Xiaobao prepared for them was very good. Smoked chicken made by Zhang Dashan, pig head meat, and in addition to these two, there were even 5 catties of spiced beef. Beef was amazing. Normally, they would not even dare to think about eating it, let alone eat it. They made some coriander and garlic sauce for themselves, and found a place to sit not far away. They looked at the sea, which they had long been bored of, and listened to the noise of the waves. Now and then they glanced at the sun, hoping that it would leave soon and that it would be noon. After waiting for a long time, they were all dazed by the sun. Finally noon came. All the people who were fishing in this area came up at the same time. The Chao family was a little special. They did not have anyone to cook, so Chao Harue brought them big steamed buns with vegetable fillings. According to Zhang Xiaobao, these were good things that could replenish a lot of vitamins. He used fruits to replenish himself. If he ate steamed buns, he wanted to replenish his protein. There was more salt in the steamed buns. Firstly, it could prevent the steamed buns from being sunburned. Secondly, it could save the steamed buns from being dipped in soy sauce. Originally, they were told to bring the steamed buns with them and eat them when they were hungry. However, they gathered all the steamed buns together and put them on the shore so that they could rest for a while. As soon as the people of the Chao family came ashore, the 30 people who worked for the Zhang family shouted at them and asked them to come over and eat there. These people who were catching shrimps on the wooden raft also knew that the 30 people were different from others. They wore new clothes with rice seedlings embroidered on them. They did not eat with them at night like before. Instead, they ate 3 meals a day at the Zhang family. They ate well with meat and vegetables and drank wine. These days they had been envious. At this time, when they saw that they were called over, they did not hesitate and took the steamed buns to the side where the Liu family's servants were eating today. Xiaoxia, come here. Here is some wine for you to drink. Don't you usually say that you want to drink some wine? I brought it here. There is also beef. Eat as much as you can. When we are working there, we can drink wine and eat meat if we want. Our master is the best. Others can't. One of the 30 people shouted at the thin and weak person coming over. His voice was very loud, so loud that the servants of the other 3 families could hear him clearly. Naturally, the servants of the Liu family heard him the most clearly. As he spoke, he opened the bamboo tube that contained the wine and took out the cut meat. He looked in the direction of the servants of the Liu family and pinched a piece of beef. He slowly put it into his mouth and gently chewed twice. Only then did he take a sip of wine. His movements were not small. It was as the saying went, 1 mouthful of food and 1 mouthful of wine. It would be a lie if the Liu family's servants said that they were not greedy. They could only catch some fish to cook at home. They could not taste other meat at all. Even if they brought fish back, they could only see how much oil there was on the fish. If there was no oil, the master would not give them too much oil. They would not care about salt. They could eat whatever they wanted. Looking at the people of the Chao family eating, the people of the Liu family could only pretend that they did not know. Some people quietly scolded them for being shameless. The master family and the Zhang family were at odds, but they still went to the Zhang family to do things. The people of the Lu family could not eat it. They could only smell the fragrance that drifted over. However, the people of the Chao family were different. Everyone had a master. Since they were called over, they would definitely be able to eat it. If they were not called, then it would be another story. The person who was called Xiao Xia was the first to come over. He smiled at the person who called him and said, "Brother Big Fish, you guys are really capable. You can eat such good food and drink wine. Brother Big Fish, are you really going to let me eat it? My name is Diyu, not Big Fish. Remember, next time you call me by the wrong name, there will be no food to eat." The person who spoke just now corrected him. In fact, he was used to being called Big Fish in the past. Now he felt that his identity was different. His real name was Big Rain. He did not know where he heard it. There was also a powerful person called Diyu, so he changed his name. Of course, Xiao Xia did not dare to argue about this matter. If he did, there would be no food to eat. He smiled even more amiably and said, "Brother Diyu, do you think people like us can also go to the Zhang family to do things?" Diyu was happy to be called. He pinched 2 pieces of beef and placed them in the palm of Xiao Xia's outstretched hand generously. Then he handed the bamboo tube over and said, "For this matter, you have to find the master. The master is very capable. He can talk to the people of the Zhang family. Maybe it will work. Compared to the masters of other families, our master is more than 100 times better. What can other masters do? They will be deceived." Yes, the masters of other families can be deceived. Yes, the meat is really delicious. The wine is also good. Xiao Xia echoed. He drank 2 pieces of meat and a mouthful of wine, making him feel comfortable from inside out. Who are you talking about? Which family's master was fooled? Say it clearly. Who is the more capable one? One of the more hot-tempered people from the Lu family finally could not hold it in. It was fine that he smelled the fragrance of the wine and dishes, but he actually dared to talk about his master. He stood up and pointed at Big Fish. This person was half a head taller than Big Fish and was also stronger than him. If it was before, Big Fish could only endure. But now it was different. He was originally sitting, but he also stood up and shouted at the person who came, "I will talk about whoever comes over. What can you do? Do you dare to touch me? I work for the Zhang family. If you touch me, I will say that I can't do it anymore. I will ask the people of the Zhang family to come over and teach you a lesson. Now that I have told you, I will talk about you. I will say that your master is stupid and was deceived. You think you can take advantage of him. So what? If you can't get the shrimp sauce, you can wait to lose money. My master is capable. Look at the food we eat and look at the junk you eat. Capable, this is capable. Do you understand?" This person from the Lu family really wanted to make a move, but when he heard what Big Fish said, he could only clench his fists tightly. He was indeed afraid of the Zhang family, not only because Zhang Zhong was the provincial governor, but more importantly because those people from the Zhang family really dared to kill people. He had a straightforward personality and did not dare to make a move now. When he heard Big Fish proudly belittling his master, he almost cried in anger. The other members of the Lu family also did not dare to come over and cause trouble. They stood there and felt waves of sadness in their hearts. Their master had been deceived. That person surnamed Chao went to the Zhang family to enjoy life. It would be a lie to say that they were not envious. But who could they blame? On their side, the people from the Chao Hui family were happy. They ate and sipped some wine and kept talking about the Lu family. In any case, there was nothing good to say. The people from the other 2 families acted as if this matter did not concern them. They were jealous of the Chao family, but they were also happy that the Lu family was being talked about. They had never forgotten that the Lu family did not give them food to eat in the past. The Lu family began to eat. The people of the Lu family began to eat in silence. One of them was quite ambitious. He said to the people beside him, "Hurry up and eat. After you finish eating, go catch prawns. No matter what, we have to deal with this matter." We can't count on others. When we go back we will tell Master. All officials are the same. Master will not be inferior to anyone. Only shameless people would hug the thigh of the Zhang family. After he said this, the people from the Lu family really gained some morale. They ate faster. The people from the Chao family ate very slowly. The main reason was that they could not bear to eat too quickly. That way, they would not be able to taste the wine and food. They all looked at the people from the Lu family with mocking expressions on their faces. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also eating lunch. The two of them did not know that their strategy of sowing discord had achieved very good results. The two of them came out in the morning and rode on the same horse. They ran towards the project that Qidong was in charge of. On the way, they slowed down a little to look at the surrounding scenery and the situation of the grain planted on the ground. When it was almost time for lunch, they arrived at the site. The two of them not only saw the pile of firewood used to cook salt, but also saw the people cooking salt by the sea. At this time the meal was ready. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found a place to eat. There was no table, and Qidong did not make pancakes. For the sake of greed, it was better to cook normally. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan carried their own plates and walked casually to Qidong's side. They squatted there and began to eat. As they ate, they stopped to look at Qidong. If it was a normal person doing this, Qidong would have already become angry. However, he did not dare to provoke the two children of the provincial governor's family. He could only force himself to endure. Cuckoo, with so many pots used to cook salt, how much salt do you think can be cooked for several days? Is the salt enough for the people working here? Zhang Xiaobao did not plan to let Qidong eat peacefully. He asked Wang Wan. Wang Wan swallowed the food in her mouth. With so many pots cooking, if the people working here eat the salt, they will probably die. Since it is cooked, why can't I see any salt? Where did the salt go these past few days? Xiaobao, do you know? If you don't know, ask your father. I will ask him later. Chapter 451. Qidong Feng looked at the two children and thought they were very interesting. At this time, he couldn't find his previous thoughts. Listening to the two people casually talking, Qidong's sweat flowed even faster. He found that the weather was not so hot, and there was a kind of coldness from inside out. If possible, Qidong really wanted to strangle the two children to death, but he could only think about it. Not to mention that there were guards standing beside the two children. Even if there was no one beside them, he wouldn't dare to do it. He naturally knew who the two children were. One was the son of the provincial governor, and the other was his future daughter-in-law. If anyone dared to harm them, the people here would tear them apart before the people with the crossbows could do anything. Since he couldn't do it, he could only use other methods. Qidong thought about it. He didn't have anything on him that could attract the children, so he grabbed a handful of mud from the ground. There was a lot of sand, so he rubbed it vigorously. He first rubbed out the large grains of sand, and the rest was barely enough to make something. While the others were eating, he made a small stick of grass and made and sculpted it. Soon, the two hands holding each other's hands made a small clay man. Its face looked similar to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Ignoring the uncomfortable feeling of his clothes sticking to his body due to the hot weather and the nervousness, he smiled and brought it closer to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan who were eating. Little young master, do you think it's fun? If it's fun, I'll make it for the two of you. I can make whatever you want. This was the only method Qidong could think of, and he hoped it would be useful. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan put down their chopsticks and looked at the clay man, then looked at Qidong and nodded. Without waiting for Qidong to say his purpose, Zhang Xiaobao spoke. It's fun. I didn't expect that not only are you good at calculating, but you're also so skillful. Can you really make whatever we want? Yes, absolutely. Little young master and little miss, I'll make it. Seeing that there was hope, Qidong hurriedly promised happily. Wang Wan looked at the place where the salt was boiling and said with a smile, I want a clay man like that. What kind? Qidong asked. A good deputy county magistrate who is always considerate of the people and won't try his best to make money from selling salt every day. He needs to have a heart that is purer than gemstones, a pair of clear eyes, and a sense of justice. Even if his nose is a little flat, even if he is a little short, even if his eyes are a little small, he is still tall in the eyes of the people. He is as lofty as a mountain and as vast as the sea. I wonder if you can pinch him, Wang Wan said to Qi Dong with a smile. With a clatter, the clay figurine in Qi Dong's hand fell to the ground. Then with a plop, he knelt down in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. His face was full of fear, and his body was trembling. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued to eat as if they didn't see it. From time to time they would give each other their favorite food. They looked like they were innocent. The people nearby also heard Wang Wan's words. As long as they were not stupid, they would know who Wang Wan was talking about. At this time, they realized that County Magistrate Qi had been lying to them to cook salt for the past few days. He said that it was for others to eat and to save money for the provincial governor. In fact, he kept it for himself. They were so angry that they stopped eating. They stood up and surrounded Qi Dong. If it weren't for the fact that little young master and little miss didn't do anything, they would have boiled Qi Dong like seawater to see if they could get a heart that was purer than gemstones. I'm guilty. I know I'm wrong. I'm guilty. Qi Dong thought that he had done a good job and no one would find out. Now he understood that the provincial governor must have found out and sent the two kids here. While saying that he was guilty, he kept kowtowing. Zhang Xiaobao put the last grain of rice into his mouth. He smacked his lips and rinsed his mouth with water. He looked at Qi Dong, who was kneeling there, and said, "My father asked me to ask you if you can't do things peacefully because of gambling debts?" "No, I never gamble." Qi Dong shook his head and answered, "Do you have family members who are sick but don't have money to treat them? Do you need good medicine?" Zhang Xiaobao asked again. "No one is sick. Everyone is fine." Qi Dong continued to shake his head. "Do you have children who are married?" "My son is only 10 years old and my daughter is only 7 years old. How can they get married?" "Well, since you don't have children, then your crime of corruption can't be reduced. How will you be sentenced? If you are not as good as the law, you will be flogged 70 times. If you are not as good as the law, you will be flogged 100 times. If you are not as good as the law, you will be a disciple for a year. If you are not as good as the law, you will be punished. If you are the one who lost the ransom, you will be punished. If you are the one who begged, you will be punished. If you are the one who gave, you will be punished. If not, you will be sentenced to both." "I'm confused. Are you talking about Deputy County Magistrate Qi?" Zhang Xiaobao looked at Qi Dong and asked. When Qi Dong heard these two crimes, he shivered. No matter which one he was sentenced to, he wouldn't be punished. Some things couldn't be said. For example, according to the calculations, the new provincial governor's family should have been killed countless times. Bribery, doing business for personal gain, disobeying the rules, having too many servants in the family, privately appointing officials, and some other things that he didn't know about. None of these things would end well. However, no one cared about the provincial governor. He was caught. It didn't matter how serious the crime was. What was important was that he was convicted. Qi Dong, who didn't dare to say anything, could only kowtow and say that he was guilty. He didn't say anything. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao would not sentence Qi Dong to death. He was clever and talented. That was a small account. If he was properly groomed in the future, it would save him a lot of trouble. It would not be a bad idea to let him check the accounts of other departments. Now, what he was thinking about was to let other people see and give an explanation to the people around. Thinking about this, Zhang Xiaobao ordered, "Come, tie Qi Dong up and send him to my father. Flog him 100 times and lock him up for a year. If he doesn't die from the flogging, consider him lucky." When the guards arrived, they had already received instructions. When they heard the order, they tied Qi Dong up without another word. Qi Dong did not struggle either. He was frightened by the 100 beatings. With so many beatings, even if he did not die, he would be skinned alive, not to mention that it was intentional. He clearly knew that Zhang Xiaobao didn't have the authority to tie him up, but he didn't dare to say anything. It was good that he wasn't taken away. Otherwise, when Zhang Xiaobao and the others left, the people would eat him up. At that time, with so many people beating him up, even if he died, it would only be a light punishment. Zhang Zhong probably wouldn't give a heavy sentence to a citizen who beat someone to death. You dare to take bribes and bend the law? Do you think that there aren't any accounting experts in my residence? Everyone, the bad guy has been taken away. Let's all continue eating. Oh, there's also a scribe. Come, take him away too. After Qi Dong was taken away, Zhang Xiaobao said something to the people around him. He also took away the scribe who cooperated with the crime. Only then did he and Wang Wan send the plates of food to the washing place and leave happily. Zhang Xiaobao wasn't worried that other people with thoughts wouldn't know. The speed at which the people spread news was unimaginably fast. In less than a day, everyone in the province would know of this matter. As for how the rumors spread, it didn't matter. Seeing Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan leave, the people who knew of the situation let out chaotic cheers. They began to excitedly tell the people who didn't know the matter. The more they talked, the more ridiculous it became. While the people hated Qi Dong and the scribe, they also admired the good official even more. He was able to see through everything. Doing a little trick and he was caught. The news spread very quickly. By the time Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan rode back to the residence, the people who were working and the management staff all knew of what happened at noon. There were indeed a few who wanted to learn and do it. At this time they were all frightened. They were glad that they hadn't done it yet. They were also glad that the provincial governor had acted early. Otherwise, when they learned and did it, there would be no chance for regret. Zhang Zhong also heard of this matter. He really didn't know that there was someone who falsified the accounts. After understanding the details, he sighed for Qi Dong. This was a bad idea. The falsification of the accounts reached Xiao Bao. This was purely courting death. The accounts of the family were all managed by the son. There were countless transactions and it was very easy for him to manage. A mere deputy county magistrate dared to falsify the accounts for his son. Qi Dong was not escorted to Zhang Zhong's residence. Instead, he was directly escorted back to the residence. No one beat him. He was also not locked up in a cell. Instead, he was locked up in the woodshed and thrown into a corner. He was left alone. He was locked up until night time. No one came to bring him food or water. The weather was hot and the woodshed was stuffy. After being locked up for half a day, he was a little exhausted. The main reason was not physical problems, but psychological pressure. He didn't know how he would be judged. He also didn't know what his family would do when they heard the news. He spent the whole afternoon thinking about what went wrong. The most clear thing was that the salt that people ate and boiled did not match. However, if it was just checking the accounts, it might not be found out. Unless there was a shrewd person who came to check. Could it be that a commoner could calculate it? Moreover, it was deliberately arranged here. Was it related to the provincial governor? He didn't know that it was because he had made the accounts too detailed and considered too many things. There was also a slight loophole. This was troublesome, especially when it came to firewood. Even if he didn't record it, Zhang Xiaobao wouldn't say anything. Different wood and different cooking methods used different amounts of firewood. Firewood was not valuable, so it was fine if he didn't record it. However, he had written down the amount of firewood used by others. It was purely superfluous. Who knew what he would think if he understood? Xiao Bao, are you just going to lock him up like this? How long will he be locked up? I'm afraid his body can't take it. After returning to the residence, Wang Wan glanced in the direction of the woodshed and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Give him some water at night. As for going to the toilet, he will find a way himself. Otherwise he will have to endure it. When he understands why we didn't beat him and what he should do, then let him go." For the first 3 days we can only give him water. He won't die. Chapter 452. When it was a cloudy day at the beach in summer, the sea breeze would bring along the moisture of the sea. The closer one was to the beach, the more uncomfortable their skin would feel. Even if one didn't do any exercise, they would still feel stuffy. Furthermore, the sweat that came out of their bodies would feel hot to the outside, but when they touched their arms they would feel cold. At this time, the best way to relieve the heat was to take a shower with warm water. Never use cold water. One person would easily get sick, while the other would feel even hotter after this. If the conditions at home allowed it, then they would dig a swimming pool. It was convenient and fast. They could dive in and come out and it would be cool. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan repeated this action. It was good to have an artesian well. After a flood, they didn't know what happened underground. The water in the artesian well could actually shoot up more than 10 feet high. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't investigate this phenomenon. Instead, they made use of the fountain and built a large pool. They didn't even need a swimming pool. They dug a river and connected it to the river 3 li away. No one objected. Compared to the original provincial governor Shi, it could be said that the difference was like heaven and earth. In the entire manor, other than the front area for official business, the back area was designed into a garden by the two of them. 2-story bamboo buildings stood there. There were ponds, small lakes, all kinds of pavilions, corridors and canals in the surrounding areas. They also raised some fish and planted flowers. Newcomers would get lost in this garden. Unfortunately, there weren't that many villagers who came to play. Even if they opened the door at the back of the manor and posted a notice for the commoners' children to come and play, no one came. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan spent a lot of effort to design the original courtyard into a children's playground with a small wooden house, a slide, a swing, a seesaw, and a water carousel. However, because no one came, it became a decoration. Only Li Sun, the older child, came to play from beginning to end. Then, the 3 of them sat in the pool that was less than 2 feet deep, staring at the fake fish carved out of wood in a daze. At noon today, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally couldn't stand the sultry weather. It looked like it was going to rain, but there was no wind. For the whole morning, not a single drop of rain fell. They were too close to the beach, and their bodies were wet and sticky. They asked someone to guard the door of the fountain and jumped in to soak. Underground water was indeed different. It was bone-chilling. After soaking in it for a while, it would come out and warm up. It was a little addictive. It's been 2 days. Qidong has been locked up for 2 days. After a while it will be 3 days. He has been drinking water all this time. Should we send him some food? He must be feeling terrible today. Wang Wan finally stopped feeling stuffy. She shook her wet hair and reminded Zhang Xiaobao. There's no rush. We'll see tomorrow. If you still can't figure out what to do, just give him something to eat. I think a steamed bun a day should be enough. What's the reaction of Lu Shaoqing and the others? Send someone to ask them later. Zhang Xiaobao estimated that as long as Qidong had enough water and didn't commit suicide, he wouldn't die in a short time. On the contrary, he was more concerned about Lu Shaoqing and the others. He didn't get any information today, so he didn't know how the division plan was going. When the 2 people's hair was almost dry, the person who went to inquire finally came back. Little master, little miss, nothing happened. The 4 of them have been in their own houses for the past 2 days. Although they are close to each other, they don't have much contact. The servants in their houses seem to have become well behaved. Even if they meet every day, they just don't talk. They haven't fought. The person who inquired about the news came back to report. Hearing this news, Zhang Xiaobao was satisfied and said, "It's good that things are stable. Otherwise, if they fight again, the hatred that was accumulated with great difficulty will be released. Small conflicts are easy to solve. Only when the accumulation reaches a certain level, will it be uncontrollable and continue to the next step." Lu Shaoqing was still in a worrying situation. His subordinates had tried their best to catch prawns, but the amount was far from enough. There were only 100 jars. If they could get all the prawns caught by the other 3 families, it might be enough. But now, Zhang Zhong had ordered people to spread the news that a jar of prawn sauce would be sold for 10 strings of coins. There were a dozen or so people who happened to have a jar in their houses and had already gone to exchange it for money. The 4 families were catching prawns and waiting to sell them when they were ready. They originally wanted to see if any other people were catching prawns and buy some at a high price. In the end, all the people were busy. Some were digging the river, some were building houses, and some fishermen had already joined the Zhang family's fishing business. There were less than 20 days left. Even if it was heated manually, it would take a long time. If there were no more prawns, they would have to wait to lose money. We gathered for profit, so why should we complain about profit? If there is wealth in the dynasty, we will leave without profit. Sigh. Good move, Zhang Zhong. Oh Zhang Zhong, what a good move to sow discord. You clearly saw through it, but you couldn't avoid it. Lu Shaoqing sat there. It was unknown whether it was the gloomy weather that made his mood bad, or he suddenly thought it through. He muttered a few words to himself. He wasn't the only one who understood. Chao Harue also knew that this was Zhang Zhong's plan. But even if he knew about the plan to sow discord, he had to jump into the trap in order to be able to pay off the debt as soon as possible. How could he not earn 10 strings of coins for a jar of prawn sauce? Chao Harue found a reason for himself when he betrayed and felt a little better. Master, good news. Master, the price of prawn sauce has increased again. The Zhang family's people came out and said that a jar of prawn sauce is 15 strings of coins. Pickled vegetable store will only accept 1,000 jars of prawn sauce. Master, hurry up and make it. Chao Harue's servant hurriedly ran in and happily told his master, who was sitting in the middle of the courtyard and feeling a little better, what he saw just now. 15 strings of coins. Tell those 30 people who only know how to drink to do their jobs properly. They can't be delayed. Chao Harue's heart was beating a little faster and a little unsteadily because of this news. He knew that those 30 people ate and drank well in the Zhang family and rarely helped out. It was fine if it was in the past, but not now. Money. Time was money. The Zhang family gave them a high salary. If they really worked hard, they could make 2 jars of prawn sauce with a salary of 1 person a day. They would only accept 1,000 jars of prawn sauce. This promise was made. For the sake of their reputation, the Zhang family would not go back on their word. 30 people would make 60 jars a day. 600 jars in 10 days. How much money would that be? 9,000 strings of coins. They would still have money left after paying back all the money. The servant hurriedly ran over and hurriedly left after receiving the order. When the news of 15 strings of coins for a jar was released, some of the people were tempted. They wanted to catch prawns to make prawn sauce in their free time. However, Zhang Zhong posted another notice saying that he was going to build a seawall to prevent typhoons and tidal waves from destroying the houses. When the people were given a choice between money and Zhang Zhong, most of them chose Zhang Zhong. Only a small number of them chose money. When it was their turn to work, they did not work hard. When they were resting, they would go catch prawns. For 2 days in a row, a small number of people did not work hard. This made Zhang Zhong feel a little sad. He had done so much for Lu Zhou. Under the circumstances where he was not forced, his words could not be compared to that little bit of money. The people who had just destroyed their homes and those who did not want to face the disaster. This is human nature. Never think of others as how they should be. Who can you blame for that? This notice is a touchstone. Yes, between heaven and hell, the outcome is decided when you make the choice. Those who don't work hard are not needed from tomorrow onwards. Let's catch prawns. When Zhang Xiaobao received the news, he did not look sad at all. He only felt sad for those people. 15 strings of coins for a jar of prawn sauce. Prawn sauce. They were all waiting for a pie to fall from the sky. Wang Wan also felt that it was not worth it for those who chose to catch prawns. There was no such thing as 15 strings of coins. It was all a scam. Apart from the pickling line, the fishing line was almost done. Many people thought that the pickling line belonged to the Zhang family and the fishing line belonged to the Zhang family. Therefore, the prawn sauce they received was not from the Zhang family. They were too naive. Various industries shared shares and settled accounts separately. Even if that was not the case, they could just find someone to buy the prawn sauce from the fishing line and sell it to the pickling line. At that time, those who wanted to cry would cry, and those who wanted to laugh would laugh. They would be able to see the various forms of life again. If the wind does not blow, the leaves will fall. If the water does not ripple, the fish will live. If the heart is not calm, there is nothing to be done. The sky is cloudy and there are many floating clouds. Wang Wan missed Zhuangzi, where the Zhang family and the Wang family lived. There were not many worries there. Every time the farmers made a choice, they would listen to the master, and the master had never disappointed them. Help, help. I know what to do. Help. Bang, bang. I know what to do. Help. Xiao Bao, did you hear something? Wang Wan suddenly heard someone shouting for help. Zhang Xiaobao had locked Qi Dong up for nearly 5 days. He finally heard something and pulled Wang Wan over. Heard it. Qi Dong is banging on the door. He has figured it out. Let's go and ask him what he knows. Do we need to call a guard? Wang Wan was afraid that Qi Dong would suddenly attack them. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand. Let's go. There is no need to call a guard. He ate a steamed bun yesterday and has been drinking water for the past few days. Who do you think he is? Without salt, a steamed bun can heal him. His legs are still tied. Help! I know what to do. I will do whatever you want me to do. I can even fake the accounts. I can't take it anymore. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan arrived outside the woodshed, they heard Qi Dong's weak voice. You don't say, he's really smart. He knows how to do what he's told. Wang Wan praised. Zhang Xiaobao chuckled. How many fools would be willing to spend so much effort to fake the accounts? Let's have a good chat with him. The two of them stood outside the door of the firewood shed. Qi Dong, who was inside, noticed that the crack in the door was dark. He peeked out with one eye and immediately said happily, "Young master, young lady, quickly tell His Excellency. I understand what His Excellency means. I will listen to him." Chapter 453. The news of Qi Dong being exiled spread. Only a few people knew that he had been exiled, but not many knew where he had been exiled to. Many people did not know where would be more suitable than Lingnan to be exiled. In short, this person was no longer in Luzhou. Even his family had left with him, making it impossible for those who wanted to find him. With such an example, all the people in charge became obedient. When Zhang Xiaobao saw that things were on track, he and Wang Wan led the 56 members of the No. 0 protection team to train. This time, the place they chose was a little far from the state capital. They were going to enter the 100,000 mountains to hunt for prey. The most important thing was to train the guards to fight in the jungle. Zhang Xiaobao was personally in charge of this. Although Wang Wan was trained in martial arts, she was not as good as Zhang Xiaobao when it came to fighting in the jungle. Zhang Xiaobao had learned a thing or two in prison when he was in China. When he was abroad, he specially found a place with a lot of jungles to train hard. The instructors he hired were all people from the special forces. There were people from various countries, and each country had its own characteristics. This was especially true when they entered Africa, which was still in turmoil. Some of those people had even lived in the jungle since they were young. This allowed Zhang Xiaobao to learn a lot, even though he was not as good as the experts who had lived in the jungle for most of their lives. With such a good thing happening, Li Sun also came to join in the fun. When he knew that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were going to bring people to the mountains, he deliberately prepared his backpack, which was filled with the things he used to train in the wilderness. He also made sufficient preparations for the 50 guards he was going to bring this time. Each of them had a backpack. However, when he met up with Zhang Xiaobao and the others at the entrance, he found that they did not have any backpacks at all. They were wearing different clothes, which were yellow and green. There were many pockets on their bodies and there were some things stuffed in them. It did not look like much, and each of them was holding a black machete in their hands. There was nothing else, not to mention that he was carrying a crossbow. Xiao Bao, that's not right. Where's the backpack? Why didn't you prepare it? Don't you have to organize everything in advance to survive in the wilderness? What are you going to eat when the time comes? Li Sun asked Zhang Xiaobao. Who said that we have to prepare everything in advance to survive in the wild? If I give you time to prepare, you can do it. If you don't have time, where will you go to prepare? Just like that, we put on the leg bindings and set off. We have to hurry all the way. This place is 320 li away from the mountain. The requirement is that we reach it in 3 days and 2 nights, which is 30 hours. Young Master Li, when you can't run anymore, you can ride with me and Cuckoo. Zhang Xiaobao began to put on the leg bindings. Li Sun didn't say anything. He waved to the people behind him, and the guards of the Wang mansion also began to put on the leg bindings. Li Sun also trained them normally, learning from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The 50 people who were selected listened to the distance and estimated the time. They felt that this was an impossible task. After the leg bindings were done, the people of the protection team put their swords behind their backs, warmed up their legs a little, and stood in 2 rows to start running. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun followed behind the 56 people. There were more than 10 horses beside them, and they also ran with them. Li Sun's guards were at the back, so that the 3 people in the middle would not be in danger. This time Li Sun also understood. It seemed to be different from the survival in the wild in the past. When he was running, he could still keep up at the beginning, but he didn't dare to speak. He adjusted his breathing and pace using the method he learned from Zhang Xiaobao. This kind of speed was acceptable for adults, but it was a little difficult for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The 2 of them used a quarter of an hour to run nearly 7 miles. They left the team and jumped on their horses. This kind of speed was too slow for adults. They ran more than 3 kilometers in 15 minutes. However, for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, this was already the limit. Even if the 2 of them had been training very seriously and constantly improving themselves, they couldn't run further, let alone reduce their speed to less than 3 minutes per kilometer. They couldn't even vomit blood. Moreover, they could only persist for such a long distance, and it was on the road that had been repaired. This had already frightened Li Sun. He followed the team's speed, but he couldn't continue after running for 3 miles. He sat on the horse at the side and panted. He regretted carrying a backpack. The things inside were very heavy. The guards of the prince's mansion were not relaxed either. Not only did they carry backpacks, but they also carried knives and crossbows. It was very heavy. However, the people of the Sprout protection team could persist. They usually had to carry weights during their training. Now that they didn't carry weights, it was naturally not so tiring to run. Slow down. Don't run so fast. I'll let you run for a quarter of an hour to feel comfortable without weights. Do you really think you can keep running? You can run 7 miles in a quarter of an hour, 28 miles in 2 hours. Can you run 140 miles in 10 hours? Today you have to run for 14 hours, 100 miles. Adjust yourselves. Rest in the middle is also included. Wang Wan, who was on the horse, saw that the people of the Sprout protection team were in a frenzy. They were preparing to compete with the prince's mansion's guards on foot. She quickly shouted for them to slow down. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to do anything else after running for 2 hours at this speed. Wang Wan knew in her heart that 100 miles in 14 hours was not a lot. When she looked at historical materials in the past, the People's Liberation Army's fastest forced march could run 100 miles in 14 hours. They also had to carry heavy weapons and ammunition with them. They could go into battle after a little rest. They were inhuman existences. It was also at that time that she decided to enter the military academy. This time it was 320 miles. In fact, it was similar to the 345 miles in the other world. In 2.5 days, they should be able to carry 3 days' worth of food, a knife, rope, and salt that didn't take up much weight. Should be very easy. The people of the Sprout Protection Team were used to the doctrine that military orders were absolute. When they heard the young lady's words, they immediately began to adjust themselves. The prince's mansion's guards had been suppressed just now. Now that there was a chance, they rushed up and ran in front of the Sprout Protection Team. Li Sun originally wanted them to slow down, but after thinking for a while, he felt that it was better to let them run. When they couldn't run anymore, he would take care of them properly in case it happened again in the future. Come on, hurry up, overtake their boat. Overtake one more boat. There are more in front. In the canal from Chuzhou to Hangzhou, a boat with full sail was moving fast all the way. Perhaps it felt that this speed was not fast enough. The wheels on both sides of the boat were also rotating. At the same time, the back of the boat turned over at the same time. Xaner stood at the bow of the boat and shouted excitedly. The guards next to her didn't know what "come on" meant. When they heard her shout, they asked curiously, "Young lady, what do you mean by come on? Don't you know how to come on?" Xiao Bao and Cuckoo sometimes shout like this. The propeller at the back needs to be turned like an axle. It needs some oil, otherwise it won't be able to turn. So you have to come on. Xaner explained to the guards seriously. At this time, the boat overtook another boat, which made the people on the boats look sideways. They didn't know where the boat came from. It was so fast. When they saw the rice seedlings on the flag, they knew that it was a boat from between the clouds and the water, the kind that could easily travel the sea. The human-powered propeller below had been working for 6 hours, but it was still not broken. The things made by the Ministry of Works were indeed better than those made by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's family. The ones made by the Zhang family usually didn't dare to use, as they had a backup plan. Usually it was good enough to guarantee that they could keep the propeller running for 2 hours. Although the propeller was not as fast as the one that burned diesel, or rather, it couldn't be compared at all. The speed of rotation was slow, and it didn't work even if lever was used. However, for a boat at this time, it had some effect if the sail and wheels were used together. Today there was a good wind, so they could sail at full speed. Xaner wanted to reach the destination early, and the old man also wanted to see how it looked like when the boat was at full speed. The wheels on both sides started to rotate, and the propeller below also started to rotate. The boat overtook all the way like this. Some boats were not convinced, so they used both the sail and the oars to compete, but they were left behind even more. Quick, there are 2 more boats. They are overtaking them too. Her clothes fluttered in the wind. Sinner felt very happy today. She jumped and screamed, scaring the people who were protecting her. The 2 boats didn't seem to want to be overtaken, so they also rowed with all their might. However, the distance between the 2 boats was constantly closing. After a while, the boat caught up to the tail of one of the boats. No one knew what the people on the 2 boats were thinking, but suddenly, the boat in front of them started to turn to the side and slow down. If the boat still followed the original route, it would definitely hit the side of the boat. Even if it was an ordinary boat now, it couldn't change the direction. Even if the sails were lowered and all the oars were leveled, it would still be useless. The old man stood on the deck and scolded. "Whose boat is so arrogant? You want to risk your life. Lower the sails, stop the propellers, reverse the 2 wheels and put up a stick." Following the old man's order, the sails quickly lowered, and the propellers behind also stopped. The people on both sides of the boat began to struggle to stop the pedals under their feet. Then they began to reverse the pedals. The axles of the wheels on both sides of the boat made a squeaking sound. A few holes on the first floor of the boat were pulled open, and a thick piece of wood stretched out from the holes. The old man took out his clairvoyance and looked at the boat in front of him. He wanted to know who was on the boat, but he couldn't see it from the stern. Even if the boat in front of him turned a little and made preparations to intercept, he still couldn't see the front deck. The ship finally slowed down as its 2 wheels reversed. However, it did not completely stop, let alone reverse. Just as it was about to collide with the ship suddenly reversed its direction and accelerated again, leaving the ship behind. The old man now understood that the people on the boat deliberately made such movements to scare people. Thinking of this, he became angrier and ordered, "Chase after them. If they slow down again, just hit them directly." Chapter 454. Once the boat switched to the jib sail, it could go against the wind. However, there was a prerequisite, which was that the waterway in front of them was wide enough. Otherwise, if they went in a zigzag pattern, they would hit the banks on both sides. This broken canal was not very wide, so the boat could only make small adjustments. All three propulsion systems were at full power. Without waiting for the two boats in front to go far, the boat caught up. The two boats in front were lowering their sails, and the oars on both sides were rowing with all their might. Rush over and see who dares to do this on the river. At the old man's command, the ship quickly rushed over and retracted the stick that extended out from the first floor. Turning around, the other stick that was wrapped in iron stretched out. This was something thought up by someone from the ordnance surveillance. The purpose was not to get the other boat into the water, unless it extended from below. However, that would also get their own boat into the water. From this height, if the enemy boat was a little shorter, then this stick could directly reach the deck of the other party, sweeping left and right, causing the other party to be flustered. If the enemy boat was also high, then it could knock a hole in the other boat in an instant, throwing things that could burn to create some trouble. Then turning around was to minimize the damage when colliding with their own people. The two boats seemed to want to do the same thing again. The boat in front of Weiwei turned to the side, but this time, the old man was determined to hit it. The people on the front deck had already retreated to a safe position, but the boat did not slow down in the slightest as it rushed over. With this kind of posture, the people on the boat in front were the first to panic. They had no choice but to turn the boat back, but this turn was a little slower, and the stick still hit the hull of the boat. After the sound of wood shattering, the position of the intercepting boat changed, but there were 4 large holes left on the hull of the boat. They were very irregular holes, and there were also thick wooden planks protruding out. After a while, the old man came out of the cabin and took out his clairvoyance to look at the deck of the other party. The people beside him also stood at the side of the boat and shouted, "Who are you? How dare you block the boat of Inqing Guanglu?" The bodyguard shouted confidently, but the other side did not dare to answer. Inqing Guanglu Dafu was a lower class, 3rd-rank official. Don't look at how the old man had already resigned from the upper class, 3rd-rank official. He was still an official and he had a 5th-rank noble title. Therefore, those who knew him did not dare to underestimate him. The people on the boat obviously knew what kind of official this was. No one came out to say anything. When the old man was about to let people board the boat, a person stood out and said, "Is that Minister Bai, Sir Bai? It's a misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. We accidentally bumped into each other and didn't manage to turn the rudder over. We are from the Ning family of Qin province, please forgive us." The Ning family of Qinzhou. Well, tell them we got it. Let's go. When the old man heard that they were from the Ning family, he naturally thought of the provincial governor of Qin province. If they were to meet again in the future, he would let them off this time. Otherwise he would impeach him. The bodyguard shouted a few words, and the boat overtook them. As for the damaged area, no one mentioned it. Not only was the other party's boat damaged, the hole in the wooden plank was also torn open. The old man deliberately checked it and said, "Today we bumped into each other today. Otherwise, if we were to wait for the war to start and damage ourselves, we wouldn't have time to repair it. In a while, 2 people will go down to the military station and report this matter to the Ministry of Works. Let them think of a solution. As for whether it's wrapped in iron or thickened, that's their problem. Grandfather, isn't Qin province near where we are going? Is it near the sea? I have never seen what the sea looks like. Must be. Otherwise they wouldn't have a boat." Xin Er, who was beside them, also heard this and said with a yearning look. Only then did the old man realize. When did the Ning family of Qin province have a boat? Moreover, it was a big boat with sails and oars. After thinking about it carefully, the old man understood. He chuckled and said to his granddaughter, "Heir, this is all thanks to your Uncle Zhang's family. Ever since they have a big boat to make money, other people will also be tempted. Ning family can also enter the sea over there. They just need to pass the Qin River. The Ning family also has business in other places. They must have sent people here to spread the news. That's why they bought 2 boats. They must have a lot of valuable things on them. They should also copy the Zhang family's fleet and sail close to the sea. With the 2 boats, the money they earn can buy another big boat. It's good that Ning family thinks this way. If their boat wants to go back, they will have to pass through Luzhou's Bay. Didn't the Zhang family's map show that Qin province collects tolls from them? I know, Grandpa. After selling the goods on their 2 boats, they definitely won't be able to buy another boat. Luzhou will also collect tolls from them. Unless they don't go to the Qin River and stop at another shore and change to the land route, they won't be able to earn enough money to buy a boat. It's very troublesome to travel by land. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo just put the map of Luzhou's game in the map book. They are surrounded by mountains. If they want to travel by land, they will have to cross the mountains. It's a waste of money and time. Grandpa, let's go quickly. When we get there, tell Xiao Bao and Cuckoo to send their boats. If 18 boats collide with 2 boats, they will definitely sink. Xin Er didn't wait for her grandpa to finish speaking. She also thought about the situation over there. She was good at games and knew how to read the map. As long as someone told her where he had played the game before, she could roughly imagine the situation over there. This might be one of the benefits of playing games. Perhaps it was because she played games, but Xin Er treated this as a game. She analyzed the business and military aspects of the game and prepared to use military means to destroy the 2 boats. The old man looked at his granddaughter and knew that she was a gamer. Sometimes she couldn't even tell the difference between reality and games. This was especially true last month. His granddaughter took out the money she had saved with great difficulty to do business. After she earned more than 30 strings of coins, she became even more obsessed with games. Fortunately, this game sometimes required a lot of knowledge. The more difficult the game was, the more knowledge would be required. If she didn't have the ability, she would just play a lower difficulty game. Xin Er's business was simple. She sold local specialties, local handicrafts, and maps. She was playing a game of dice when she hit a lucky spot. It happened to be a fork in the map. She would have one if she continued to play, but the lucky spot said that her little character had no sense of direction and couldn't find the road. She had to turn around and go back. She followed the rules and turned around for the little character. There happened to be a shop next to it that sold everything but maps. So she took out the money she had saved and hired the students of the academy to draw dozens of maps of Sanshui County. She marked the important places on the maps. Then she used the rest of the money to buy some local specialties and handicrafts in the market, and arranged for people to sell them. The price was 5 times the cost. She didn't say that some people were also bad at directions. They couldn't find the place and had to ask others. It was very difficult. Those who had some money didn't care about the cost of a map. Plus, they also bought the local specialties and handicrafts. They looked at the map while appreciating the other 2 things. In just half a month, she made 30 strings of cash, which was left after she took the initiative to pay the tax. Originally, no one asked her to pay the tax, but she insisted that she couldn't break the rules. The old man was stunned at that time. Playing a game allowed his granddaughter to make money. He didn't care about the amount of money. The main thing was that this game could let the children be exposed to new things. Although they could make money in the game and lose money in real life, the idea of the game could enlighten the children. He didn't know if the game missed something or deliberately omitted something, but there was no incident of selling maps in the game. Similarly, there was no value of maps. It was this flaw that made his granddaughter find a business opportunity. The old man thought about what happened at that time. The happiness of the family, the happiness of the servants, and the praise of others did indeed change the mood. Although the status of a businessman was not high, no one would use this to judge a little girl who was less than 10 years old. At this time, when he heard his granddaughter's analysis, he still acted militarily and quickly said, "Exenaire, you can't crash into other people's boats. This isn't a game. You have to use the same method to defeat them. Think about it carefully. Forget about the military for now." The old man felt that this was a little difficult. He didn't think of it himself, and his granddaughter couldn't think of it at the moment. This was a good way to stop his granddaughter from anxiously urging the boats to go faster. Unexpectedly, just as he finished speaking, Exenaire thought of a solution. "Grandpa, the business method is very simple. As long as we have enough capital and enough boats, we can make the Ning family suffer losses. In business there are two ways to say it: smuggling and dumping. Even if they seal off Qinzhou, they can't seal off the surrounding areas. At that time they can send people to smuggle the same goods over. Then, they can lower the price and increase the price of the local goods. This will create a false impression that the foreign goods are not as valuable as the local goods. If the Ning family is smart enough, they can use money to buy the goods that are lower in price. Then they can resell them. However, this won't work. They don't have many boats, so we can still make a small profit by lowering the price. If they want to buy all of the goods, then they might as well ship them from other places. We have many boats here, and we have our own docks and shipping companies. A large amount of goods can be shipped over. If they buy all of the goods, then we can lower the price again. If we lower the price for Qinzhou and raise the price for the other provinces, wouldn't they be collecting tolls from other people? Then, when they are preparing to ship the goods to other provinces, the other provinces will also collect tolls from them. If they also use smuggling methods, then we can continue to lower the price. This is a competition of wealth. We can make them feel like this business is of little value. It's tasteless, but it's a pity to abandon it. I believe that the Zhang family can definitely afford it. They have many boats, and it's convenient to transport goods. Don't underestimate this. When I was playing games with them, one of them was actually willing to pay several years' worth of profits to suppress me. The old man listened to his granddaughter's words and looked at the serious expression on his granddaughter's face when she used business methods to attack the Ning family. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Perhaps there were many loopholes in this plan, but not everyone had this kind of analytical ability, especially for such a young child. Chapter 455. The old man patted his granddaughter's head and said emotionally, "The Zhang family, this game can actually train people. You have to learn the layout of a game when you play. Otherwise, you can only play the simplest game and won't be able to improve at all. The higher the level of the game, the more important the layout is. Maybe many children can only play the simplest game, but as long as a small number of them can make it, then they will be talents in the future. This game's classification is like a staircase. Not only do you need to be flexible, but you also need to be strong. If you can't accept failure, then you can only quit. It's like a big wave washing away the sand. Those who can survive in the highest level of the game will find their own opportunities even in real life. Exenaire, if you want to play, then play. If you don't understand, ask. Don't be afraid of being defeated. It's just some small characters and items. Ask Xiao Bao and Cuckoo for them. Exenaire, tell Grandpa, who do you usually play with? They seem to be pretty good. Let Grandpa know." Listen. Had spent a lot of energy just now. For a child of her age, it was very tiring to set up a trap, and she couldn't think so thoroughly. However, she never gave up, even if she lost time and time again. Indeed, she had to lose. Her opponent was too strong. At this time, she was still immersed in her calculations. When she heard Grandpa's question, she smiled and said, "I know. That's why I want to go there early. I want to ask Xiao Bao and Cuckoo for things. Their family is in this business, so they must have a lot of things. I want the best carved from jade. I also want to compete with them to see who is better." Grandpa, I don't usually play with children. They can't beat me. I usually go to the Zhang family's game store and play with the people there. They are really good. It's very difficult to force a tie. It's not bad if I can win 3 out of 10 times. Usually I win 2 times. Recently, I've played a few hundred times, but I haven't won once. I only tied 6 times. I played with Song Jinggong at the little Luoshui pier. He seems to know many patterns. As long as I use them, it will be fine. However, I can't figure out the patterns. Seems different, but when I think about it carefully, I lose in the same place. I'm analyzing these patterns. After I learn them, I can use them in real life. He doesn't know how to go easy on me. When I see Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, I'll say more bad things about him. When the old man heard his granddaughter say that she went to the store to compete, he knew that his granddaughter couldn't win. How could the people there be defeated so easily? When he heard that she could win 2 or 3 times out of 10 rounds, he was proud of his granddaughter. She was indeed a little rich girl who could earn 30 strings of cash. When he heard that she couldn't win a single round even after playing a few hundred rounds, he suddenly had the urge to know who that person was and pull him to his side. That person was really capable. When he found out that it was Song Jinggong, the old man felt that his granddaughter should be shown to the 2 masters of the Zhang family when they arrived at the place. Song Jinggong was the person the Zhang family left behind to oversee the 2 counties' businesses, including the shipyard and the shipyard. How many businesses of the Zhang family had passed through his hands? What kind of person was he? He could be said to be a business genius. When the Zhang family didn't care, he had to hold up the sky by himself. After the Zhang family left, all the money-making methods were thought up by Song Jinggong himself. Who didn't want to rope him in? Unfortunately, no matter who tried to rope him in, it was useless. One only needed to ask around a little to know that he had lost to the masters of the Zhang family. He had lost wholeheartedly. When others praised him as a business genius, he would always shake his head with a bitter smile and say to the person praising him, "You will never know how powerful that person is." With him around, no one in the Tang Empire dares to challenge him. My little idea is nothing. I am so tired after scheming once, but to that person, it is as easy as blowing off dust. If you want me to join you, then don't expect me to give you advice on the same business as the Zhang family. I don't dare. I see that I have grown up a little. Everyone understood the first part of the sentence. That was, Song Jinggong was afraid of that person from the Zhang family. He didn't even have the courage to fight back. However, the last part was that he had grown up again. No one could understand what had scared Song Jinggong so much when he talked about joining other forces. The old man didn't know either, but he knew Song Jinggong's ability. His granddaughter was able to tie with him for 6 out of a few hundred rounds. This was already amazing. Song Jinggong had always been in contact with business. He had probably been taught by the masters of the Zhang family. He actually knew several business models. How many children of his granddaughter's age could tie with him for 6 out of a few hundred rounds? Thinking of that, the old man felt a little sorry for his granddaughter. That would definitely be played on the highest level map. The rules would also change accordingly. How tired would his granddaughter be when she played? Thinking of this, the old man hugged his granddaughter tightly, kissed her and asked, "Exenair, were you tired when you played against young Master Song?" Exenair took a deep breath, nodded and said, "Grandpa, it was not enough to describe it. I even wanted to die. Every step was calculated and I didn't take it one step at a time. At the highest level, playing dice, the proportion of luck was very, very small. It was so small that it was almost non-existent. Sometimes, even if you knew it was a trap, you still had to jump into it. At the critical moment, you looked for a breakthrough for that little bit of money. Otherwise, if you went around, the gap would be widened. Sometimes you had to be as still as a mountain while watching others make money. Sometimes you had to show a courageous attitude when you knew it was a trap. When playing with that damned Song Jinggong, not only did you have to worry about making money, you also had to face some pressure outside of the game. At the highest level, this game was full of traps, one after another. At the beginning you didn't know. You were clearly making money, but as you played, you started to lose money. It was inexplicable. Grandpa, to be honest, there were a few times when I was scared and wanted to give up. But I knew that you were the Minister of Revenue, and you were in charge of money. Isn't this just a game of money? I could stand it, and I persevered in the end. That damned Song Jinggong even praised me. He said that I was a genius of the generation, and asked me to play with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. If I could tie with Xiao Bao in a business game, and compete with Cuckoo in a military game, then he would be no match for me. Even if it was a war, as long as my soldiers were not that weak, I wouldn't have to be afraid. Oh, is it so good to tie with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo in 2 different games? Then when the time comes, I will compete with them. Sinair, it must have been hard for you. Tell Grandpa, which games did you tie with Song Jinggong? The last 10 games before we came out, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 and 10. These 6 games were all ties. Sinair shivered at the mention of those 6 games. It must have left a deep impression on her. The old man was moved again. The last 10 games, 8, 9 and 10, were all ties. It was definitely not because Song Jinggong gave in. At that time, Song Jinggong didn't know that they were leaving. He tied 3 games in a row. In other words, his granddaughter had been improving while enduring so much pressure. She wasn't afraid of losing. As long as she kept learning and improving during the process of losing, it was a gain. No, he must send his granddaughter to the Zhang family and let the experts of the Zhang family teach her. It would be a waste if he didn't find a good teacher for her. He didn't have the ability to teach her, even if he was the Minister of Revenue. The old man thought and hugged his granddaughter like he was hugging a treasure. Sinair huddled in her grandpa's arms and didn't think about the last few games. She just wanted to see Xiao Bao and Cuckoo as soon as possible so that she could ask for more game items. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't know that someone was coming. Moreover, it was someone they also missed. They were still forcefully marching. At this time, it was already afternoon. At noon, they hurriedly ate some food and rested for a while before the troops continued to advance. This afternoon, Li Sun's guards were no longer able to run to the front. On the other hand, the Zhang family's Team 0 was still full of energy and stamina. They kept running forward at the same speed. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would follow them for a while when they rested. They did everything according to their physical conditions. They never showed off. They knew that their bodies were still young and they needed to wait. When they were 15 or 16 years old, they believed that no one could be better than them except for some people with good stamina. Xiao Bao, do you need to take a break? Look at our people. They are already a little absent-minded. Wang Wan sat on the horse and followed them. When she saw that Wei Wei closed the eyes of the 56 people on her side, she asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao knew that the 56 people were deliberately relaxing to save a little bit of stamina. However, this kind of relaxation meant that their stamina was about to run out. After thinking for a while, Wei Wei shook her head and said to Wang Wan, "Don't worry. Wait a little longer. Now, we have already fallen behind the guards of the Wang mansion by half a mile. Don't underestimate this half mile. This is a competition of stamina and willpower. Don't let the guards of the Wang mansion catch up. The guards of the Wang mansion can still hold on. When they can't hold on anymore, stop and rest for a while. At the same time, drink some water." Wang Wan understood as soon as she heard this. Zhang Xiaobao was helping Li Sun's guards. He wanted them to hold on and only rest when their stamina couldn't hold on anymore. In this way, some people would break through their limits slowly. They wouldn't break through while running. This would easily leave behind sequelae. There would be an imbalance between the mental and physical secretions. Thinking of this, Wang Wan nodded and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Then let's do this. When can our people find such an opportunity? Young Master Li, this time I am helping you. When the time comes, your guards will have better patience and willpower than before. As long as they follow this training, of course, we can't control them if they quit halfway." "They dare. I want to see who will quit halfway," Li Sun said. "You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.